If you do the AK straight with the M4, you'll whiff.
I'm whiffing either way, Austin.
That's true. My bad.
I looked at me missing on someone and I slowed it down. You could be convinced that I've never touched a computer before in my life. I'm not even joking. I need you to see this because it's so embarrassingly bad. I can't even explain how bad it is.
And do you really? It's like that bad? Like
it's that fucking bad, dude. Oh my god.
Well, you're getting up there. Like what? You're like 35 now, so like
there was like this episode of House where this guy, he wasn't able to see things if they were moving. He could only see things that were stopped. Otherwise, his brain like didn't register it. That's what I feel like my fucking brain is. Okay. So okay, this guy's swinging out. I'm swinging on him. He's swinging on me. I flick off the angle I'm like looking at because I'm like somewhat surprised by him. Missed the flick onto him. Overcorrect to the right, he stops, I overcorrect back to the left, and then my crosshair ends up on him 10 bullets into the fucking spray, dude. And it's like, I'm wondering how I always die to people, and it's like, yeah, it makes perfect fucking sense, because if someone's moving, I am physically incapable of fucking killing them.
It sounds like you just need to hit the aim labs, buddy.
It's not helping.
I know. Maybe you just need more in-server experience, you know? Since the end of 2021, how much have you actually played till now?
No, pretty much never. Like once a week.
Like you basically quit.
Yeah.
Like you were quitting and only playing for videos, basically.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
You know, you took 2 years off and you're just paying for it. It sounds like.
Yeah, well, I also lost all the advantages because my aim was always fucked to begin with. Like when I played matchmaking, even before, it was like I could lose to like some Faceit 7s, dude, because if they're just doing really dumb shit, their aim is probably just as good as mine, if not better. My only advantage is that I could kind of outplay people.
So you don't think that the CS2 change actually made bad players better?
You could argue it did make bad players better in that bad players knew less about the game.
Like that argument exists, and I think it was probably true for like the first few weeks of the game, but like we were arguing this 3 or 4 months out. Like we were just bad. Like let's be honest.
It definitely did. I mean, I can just tell it leveled the playing field. Like the problem is with CS2, I realized how much of my gameplay relied on just like knowing everything about CS and like having been in these situations 100,000 times. But
yeah,
just the slightly different way things play out in CS2 is enough that like I've lost like most of my edge. I played quite a bit of Anubis now, and that map's a terrible fucking Pug Map. I'm gonna stick on. I think this one is a terrible Pug Map. It's far too T-sided.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and the reason is because the CTs, like the way you have to play B site is so you have to do everything pretty much by the book. Like a lot of people will start CTs by smoking B main, and you're not supposed to do that because it gives the Ts too much like room.
It feels like I'm playing fucking Nuke, man. Because it's like it's a whole different game. I'm like, okay, I know exactly how the pros are playing this. Let's go into a game, and it's like, can you resmoke B main for me? And I'm like, what am I supposed to do in E-box with two? We got no fucking smokes.
Exactly, right. So then that's what makes it more T-sided because the B site gets mismanaged. People die mid way too much. People push A way too much, and it's just like all of that just makes it even more T-sided because the map is already T-sided in pro play, even when you're playing the best you can on CT side. You don't have to try that hard to have a really good T side. There's so many comebacks on that map in Pugs. It's just
yeah, it's like fucking half aim duels, and then the concept that I could get my teammate B if I'm playing B to double push B is just foreign. It's just never gonna fucking happen.
That's never gonna happen.
Or like we retake mid control with the A player, or like move from mid to push A. Like that's never fucking happening, okay? It's just never happening.
The truth is this is what I think. I think Anubis is the new Inferno. Like the new, like actually, like you have to have a pretty decent understanding about rotations and positioning in order to be good at the map. And if you don't, you'll just get run through. And that's how it was in CSGO. And it gets played so much as deciders and pro matches, and generally it's like the map everybody just comes to agree on for best of ones as well. Like it seems like everybody just has accepted it as a replacement for Inferno, and I don't mind that, but it does make Pugs miserable. Because think about Pugs on Inferno and CSGO. Your B players are always folding, and if you're playing B, then you're always retake A. For some reason they can't hold mid rushes or halls pops. Like it feels the same way. CT side is very I don't know, like you have to actually know what you're doing to be good at CT side.
Well, I feel like I agree with you partially in that Inferno. Part of the problem is you go B, and if they're not fighting banana, like if you're defaulting banana, you get to the top, they smoke it off, and then you look back, and oh, would you look at that? My whole team's fucking dead on the other side of the map. And it's like Anubis is like default mid, wait out the smoke a little bit. Oh, would you look at that? My whole team's fucking dead everywhere on the entire fucking map. Like, it's like
they are very similar. CT side is pretty brutal because you have to play perfect or you're just not going to have a good CT side, which actually makes it really enjoyable at the higher levels of pugs. Like level 10, 2500 elo plus NNA is probably more like balanced, but it's still pretty T-sided. I hate to say there's an elo barrier between good and bad Anubis because there's really not, but like I've definitely had some games on Anubis that are really fun if you're playing with like experienced players, like they understand how it's supposed to be played.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is you need a level of like coordination and communication you're just never going to get with like, you know, there's a phenomenon I've noticed this for a long time, but I've really noticed this now that I've been playing and basically fluctuating around like 1900 to 2100 elo, depending on how much Inferno and Mirage I'm playing. Level fucking 8s, dude. What is with level 8s? I've never in my life. It's like they'll be talking and like telling people how to play, and then I'll be like, this guy must be high elo at least, even if he's saying something fucking super stupid. And then I look at it, it's like, no, it's the level 8 just telling the whole fucking team how to play. What is with level fucking 8s, dude?
It's not even really level 8. It's kind of anyone who's in that range of like level 5 to 8, because they all think that because they've been at a higher level, or maybe that's like the level where you can play a level 10 and beat them sometimes, like every once in a while. So in their mind, they're like, I've beat level 10s before, so I know what I'm doing. And then they get that weird like ego thing where they can just like boss their teammates around like they don't know what they're doing. And reality is they don't know what they're doing either. So it's like,
it's fucking wild,
you know?
Man.
Yeah, and then they get upset with you. Like I remember one time I played a game of Mirage. It was like when I was level 8, a long time ago, game of Mirage, and a level 5 yelled at me for mollying ramp on Mirage instead of smoking it because it's a waste of a molly. And I was like, what? But like the level 5 was so passionate about it, and I'm just like, I don't know what you mean. And that stuck with me for a long time.
That's basically what happened in a game I had recently. This fucking level 8,
it's
bro.
like,
I'm playing. Listen, I just want to complain about this guy because it's fucking level 8. I'm playing Window on Mirage. I've played here about 100 fucking million days in my life. Okay, I cannot tell you how many fucking times I've played Window. So our B players, our cat player and our B anchor are both on site. The other team throws like 2 flashes and then 2 people die B, and there's like the other team smoked top con earlier. So I'm like, oh, well, my teammate Jungle, that's for some reason right beside me, he can rotate B, and I'll make sure nobody's running up fucking cat to kill them from cat. And then this guy rotates B, the B players hold it, easily win the round. And then this guy is talking to me the whole game. I don't even acknowledge him. He's like, you know, you gotta rotate B, bro. You gotta rotate B. And I'm like, thanks, I'll keep that in mind. And then he was talking to me the whole rest of the game. And then it was like 10 rounds later, I'm like, dude, you're fucking level 8. Shut the fuck up. But he had more kills than me. So he's like, oh, I have to carry you, bro. I'm carrying you. I play drunk and high. I'm carrying you.
You gotta rotate if they're going B, man.
Yeah, imagine your B players are holding B flawlessly, and they could get flanked from cat, and your main priority is, well, I gotta make sure I get over the market.
The Opera shouldn't rotate into a market window smoke? That's crazy.
Dude, oh my
yeah, that's
God.
Crazy.
Oh my
it's
God.
all good.
That one, that one doesn't even like. I don't. It's almost honestly funny.
There's a lot of examples like that though.
He just wouldn't shut the fuck up, and then by the end of the game, the whole team was calling him dumb. The whole team was calling him an idiot, and he was like, "No, you're all dumb. No, you guys are the idiots."
Yeah, there's this weird phenomenon in Pugs where it just brings out like the know-it-all in some people. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but. It happens.
Man. Some people are fucking wild.
When it comes to dealing with people like that in Pugs, what do you think the best thing to do is? You think you just ignore them or just tell them that they're right and still do it?
100% ignore them. Oh, well, okay. Listen.
Well, because look, a lot of people ask this question to both of us, how to deal with teammates like that. What do we think the definitive best answer is? Do you really think it's because arguing with them you're just bringing your chances
You definitely
down
shouldn't argue
a
with them.
lot. But people really want to argue with them. Like, for example, you were like, no, I mean, I'll keep that in mind, buddy. Like, you know,
No, I didn't say anything, and then he kept talking about it. He was like trying to tell other teams like, oh, make sure you rotate B early because our window player's not going to rotate. And it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Okay, and then like 5 rounds later, I was like, look, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, I didn't even tell him. I didn't even say anything like that bad. I was like, dude, get over it. Like, it's fucking, we're past this.
We understand how to deal with those people, and it's still hard to not argue with them. It's hard for people who don't.
The trick is to bend over. The trick is, if you really want to win the game you're in, the trick is to bend over. However, if you want to have self-respect, just ignore them.
You just tell them they're right and just do what is best anyway. And as long as like,
I don't do that.
As long as you're winning, then it's fine.
I grew up in the era where I just enjoy shit. I just really enjoy shit talking.
It's fun.
It's a good time.
Can be fun.
It's a good time.
I don't know. So, did we talk last week about the player that got banned?
Wait,
did we
which
talk
player
about
got
that?
banned?
There was a player that was banned in ECL, a player that was going to the RMR.
Yeah. Droid, right?
Yes, Droid.
Yeah, okay.
Droid. Did we talk about that last week?
We did not. No.
Well, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because I think it is pretty insane that somebody who's been at that high of a level for multiple years in NA, who has previously had match fixing allegations and also a previous cheating ban, it just seems like people don't care that they're still allowed to compete. And then when they get banned for cheating, everybody's like, well, yeah, I mean, obviously. But it makes me wonder how many other players are actually at the top of the scene where we're just like conditioned by all of the other players, like, nah, they're fine, like they're not cheating, they're just better than you. Like, because I would have never guessed that he was cheating, because I play against him all the time, like in pugs and matches. Like, I would have never been like, oh, that guy's a cheater. I just have been losing to him every game and just assume that he just has it. But I guess to find out he's cheating, it makes me wonder, like, is there more to this, or is that just a coincidence? Like, is there actually, like, I'm not like putting my tinfoil hat on, but is there actually more cheaters in the scene than we think? Because playing against him again, you don't get like cheater vibes. You just lose and you're like, unlucky.
I imagine those are the people that get targeted, as in he's probably a player that was legitimately at that level. And then they just had him, like, he got contacted by someone that was like, look, I'll give you radar for like $1,000 a match. And then he's just playing with radar. And so I might not even played with it in pugs. Like, maybe it's just a match only thing.
Oh, he played with radar in pugs. It was called My Stream. I know that for sure.
Yeah. Well, no surprise.
Yeah,
but
no
yeah,
surprise.
I mean, I would imagine that that's the type of player that would get contacted by people that do have cheats that get past all this shit. And you would just run it in matches and you would just win. And people would bet on you knowing that you're going to outperform because you have fucking radar, but you're not like spin botting, which is like to play at that level, like to beat like a team like Liquid, unless you are like legitimately a really good player, it's most likely going to be obvious that you're not legit. Like, you actually have to be really good.
You have to be good. Yeah. Right. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, he's obviously not aimbotting. He's obviously not probably walling. It's probably radar. But I feel like because of that, it's just so much harder to detect that, like, because you might not even be using it other than just to make sure that everything that they're doing is right, or like calling rotations, and you're not going to feel that playing against them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to think, oh, we must have been too predictable, or oh, what we're doing was too obvious, you know? So it's hard to catch that because it only takes one on a team to do that, you know? Like, you don't need a team of cheaters, you only need one. So it just makes me wonder, because it worries me, actually, because that's a team where I always felt like consistently we could compete against them, but we just never had it to close. But now to find out they're cheating, I wonder if we're better than we thought we were. And it's hard. I don't know. It's like a weird
lost
thing.
Like 5 matches in a row, us.
Anyway, no, I mean, obviously not this iteration of my teams, you know, like, but previous ones, we've definitely played them many, many times.
No, I just said that because you were,
we
were yelling at someone on stream about that.
Oh, we definitely have been losing, yeah. But but exactly, like, he was also playing with the Timbermen, which is something that I thought was like, well, yeah, we know the Timbermen for what they're known for, but if he was playing with them, like, it makes me wonder about them. Like, I think that they're clean, even though they have a history and people would be like pointing the finger just because. I definitely think that they're clean, but it definitely makes me worry for our scene and in EU, because I feel like it's probably more common than we want to think.
EU does have a lot more lands though. Right?
That's true. Yeah, they do.
But I mean, then again, like, if you have a player that's actually good, that you just give them radar, they're still going to be good on land. They're not going to be bad enough that you're going to be like.
So that's why it's hard to detect, because this guy would go to lands and play every land and they would still perform. But it's like online, they're just hitting a level that's like, I don't know. Like qualifying for the RMR was like, I don't know, like over NRG, like it seemed like they shouldn't be beating them, you know? Like that I mean, I know NRG is not the best team in the world right now, but they definitely should not be losing to Rocket, who have historically never done anything other than be in ECL for a few seasons, you know?
I would imagine with the RMR, I would imagine there was a surprising amount of cheating, but I don't know how long these people would get away with it.
Well, I mean, all of the guys on Droid's team said that they know other teams were using coaches when they're prohibited.
Yeah, but that's a different.
Yeah, I know, but no, it's really not, because that is like a basic level of cheating that many teams are doing without even like thinking about it. Like,
yeah, but that's more like rule breaking than it is like cheating. I feel like. I mean, it's clearly cheating, but it's like it's a different conversation between someone having radar and someone using a coach when they're not supposed to.
That's true. That is 100% true.
I'm sure most teams did it. Like, if we're being honest, like MDL teams, they're not known for their morality, let's say. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a vast, there was probably more than one person that qualified for the RMR that was cheating. Actually cheating.
100%. I could believe that, but they're not going to cheat at the event, you know?
Yeah. But those are also probably like players. I feel like that's part of the thing. Like if you have match fixing, if people know you've been match fixing, it's not that big of a step to be cheating. Especially when it comes to something like the major, where it's like, yeah, I could make like $300,000 or $400,000. It's not exactly going to be a major surprise. But how many people are match fixing in this day and age? I don't know. Maybe a decent amount. There's
another topic that is in line with this that I wanted to mention, which was you might remember Drew the Shrew, old teammate of mine and yours.
Yeah.
He recently got contacted by somebody to throw matches for a good portion of money.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he posted about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he posted about it. What did they say? It said about 3,000 to 7,000 USD per match.
Yeah.
And he exposed it on Twitter. And off of that, there was actually a post that found the account that contacted Drew and showed the friends list that he had. And there was some pretty interesting names on this guy's friends list of people that he has added. So again, the guy that contacted Drew is setting up match fixing, has other pros added. For example,
hold up. I actually like, I honestly morally disagree somewhat with that list even being posted. Because
you think so?
The guy is a known coach of a real team. So if some other coach, if I'm coaching and the coach on the other team adds me, I'm accepting them most of the time. So it's like that to me, that list doesn't mean anything. And I'm getting really annoyed with people on Twitter. Someone posted that and it's like, he's a coach, dude. These names don't mean anything. And he's like, I never said it meant anything. But yeah, you fucking implied it, dude. That's the implication.
Yeah, this post is pretty damning. At least he's trying to make it seem that way.
There's been
I didn't realize that he was a coach.
Well, I mean, I could be wrong, but that's my understanding.
No. The post, it does say, it does say that. I didn't even notice that. But yeah, you know what? You're right. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything at all, does it? It's hard to actually have anything to say off of this.
I mean, that's the thing is probably he was contacted by someone the same way, and then once he got contacted, they're like, well, we'll give you money for every player that you can convince to do this, and because he's already got the contacts, then he's like in.
But
you know?
I guess that's true, but he is right. Even if he is a coach, why would he reach out to Drew for that? Like, it doesn't really mean that he didn't reach out to other people.
Oh, he's definitely reached out to other people. Yeah,
but if he reached out to other people, then why would they have not said anything? That's what I'm more worried about, because
you're right,
Drew doesn't play, and that's like, he's posting it. So like for him having people on this list, like just a random player like Head Trick, right?
Yeah.
Why would Head Trick not post somebody contacting me for match fixing? Why would he not say that? And why is it just being like, oh, I'll just ignore it? Because I don't know. Like, I feel like there's something about that makes it a little weird, because even though the list probably doesn't mean anything and most of the players probably turned it down, because they never outright came out and said that they, were contacted by this guy and they like to expose him. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Maybe he's like he just doesn't know players in NA, or like he started with it. I mean, NA is thought of as like the shadier of the scenes, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they probably contacted some of the players on the list and they didn't say anything about it.
Like some of these players like are definitely playing on teams like that are actively competing in tier 1 events, you know. So that's really the more concerning part in my opinion, because we don't want to believe tier 1 is being, you know, messed with like that, but you know, there's a chance based off all of this. I think the worst part though, that like what really sucks about this list is that Donk is on the list, which just kind of feeds into the fact that more people are going to think that Donk is just cheating, which I think is hilarious.
Okay, so I know it's become more popular now, right? To like have skins guys that like loan out their skins to like tier 2 players or whatever, right? But I remember looking in like 2020, 2021, looking at tier 2 players that have never really been on a serious, like on a team that's should be making any money, like CIS player, tier 2, tier 2.5 even, and it's just like fucking Bayonet Ruby, $5,000 gloves, Op Dragon lore, and it's like, I don't know if I believe this.
Yeah, no, that is really true. Actually, that is a little weird when you think about it.
Especially like CIS players that are in areas where, you know, the average income is like $1,000 a month or something, and it's like, yeah, I've just got $50,000 in skins. And I've never really made like $1 off CS, and my whole team has insane skins. It's always looked a little bit suspect to me. Like, and it
definitely is suspect, actually, now that you bring it up. But it's hard to say because people could just be borrowing skins out to players. Like,
yeah, it's especially nowadays. I think that's super common.
Yeah, but back in the day, you're right. Like, it's very unlikely. Like, I don't know. To be honest, it is kind of weird because I can't even really get people to let me borrow skins as a streamer. I don't know who's letting random tier 2 EU players use skins if they won't let a streamer use the skins, but it is what it is, I guess.
Actually, on the other hand, though, I remember when I bought a Dragon lore in like 2015, I had barely any YouTube subscribers, but a known like legit trader sent me the Dragon. Like he went first when I bought it. Even though I basically had no subs. So I guess like some people have a higher risk tolerance, like in general, you know. All right, Austin, I wanted to ask, what is it gonna take? Okay, so you're a Karrigan goat believer, of course.
Yes.
And just as an aside, I'm getting so fucking annoyed at glaive goat believers that I'm like, I'm getting a message after every fucking win glaive gets, and it's like, okay, I know this is hyperbolic because, yeah, they are a Polish squad with glaive leading, so it is somewhat impressive that he got them to the major, but he's taken a major qualifying team that's made it to the major in the past, their core, and he's got them into the major again. But I'd like
Barely.
10 people have come at me like, what, is he the GOAT now? Is he the GOAT now? He's the GOAT now? Yeah, what do you have to say that? And
so,
I'm like,
This roster is the 9 roster that has glaive as I9GL, right? And also Diha.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an upgrade.
It's like a weird,
yeah,
probably an upgrade, but who knows? So he took a core of players who made it to the major without glaive and did a lot more convincingly without glaive. And he gets them to the major at the last chance to qualify.
They did beat some good teams, though, I think, didn't they?
They beat the Astralis roster, which last week we talked about how bad this Astralis roster was. Yeah. And then they also... Wait, hold on. Let me pull up all the results. They beat Bad News Eagles. They got 13-0'd by Spirit.
I remember that, yeah.
They barely beat Gamer Legion, 16-14. They got stomped by Vitality, and then they beat Astralis. So yeah. It's not the most convincing way to make it to the major, but they made it. They did make it. It's hard to say because I didn't even get close, you know, so they're obviously good. Yeah. But does it really play into glaive being the GOAT? No.
Yeah, so...
I don't think so.
So, yeah, I feel like people have the unbelievably low expectations for glaive to the point that glaive would probably look at these people saying, he's the GOAT now, he made it to the major with this team, and he'd be like, dude, are you seriously, the expectations are this low that like me getting the major is supposed to mean something? But the question is, what would it take for glaive to be the GOAT for you?
Right now, for glaive to be the GOAT, he would need to take this team and win this major, or at least get top 4, go into the next major and win the next major, and then I'd be like, okay. And also some tournaments in between then and now, because you can't just be a team that only shows up for majors, in my opinion. You still have to have notable performances outside of it. If he's able to do it with this team and be somewhat convincing about it. I would say there's definitely more of an argument, but right now, like just making it to the major means nothing because what C's made it to the major and C's has been around for a long, long time. But it doesn't just mean that because he qualified with this 9Pandas team that all of a sudden he's the GOAT, one of the best of all time. He's done it again. I think so, right?
It would make
someone
sense,
can
yeah.
probably
Yeah,
confirm. I'm pretty sure C's does IGLing, right? But it doesn't just mean that C's is all of a sudden one of the best to ever do it because he's been to so many majors with so many iterations of teams.
Yeah, that does annoy me that like the the argument, I don't know, we're getting into the Glaive. We've gone over this before, but like the arguments for Glaive start and end at but four majors,
Yeah.
lol, 4 majors. And it annoys me. What annoyed me to no end, bro, is when I was saying Karrigan's the GOAT and it was like 2020, like right after they won the major, and I'd been saying it since like 2018, and people were like, this is just recency bias. You're just recency bias. And I'm like, no, it's the opposite, because I saw Astralis before they had Glaive, and I understand that Glaive didn't suddenly teach them, oh, by the way, guys, you can throw nades. Like
we did talk about this many times, but I will just reiterate though that you did actually have a pretty good point that Glaive replaced Karrigan after Karrigan set up everything with that Astralis roster, and then Glaive kind of took over and had a lot of things already preset from Karrigan and took it and ran it with it. And sure, they did do really good, but who's to say Karrigan wouldn't have also did that with that team if he would have stuck around?
I think we should not go too far on this, but I wanted to note, anytime this gets brought up, that they did not do that well until they picked up Magisk. They won the major, that's big, but then they had a very mediocre year, arguably worse than the year before Karrigan got cut. And then they got Magisk, and then they were the best team in the world. Like, that's Glaive. That's supposed to be Glaive, that like the moment they picked up Magisk, Glaive was like, oh, I can call good now. I don't believe that. Yeah,
that is true. No, that is true.
I'll say
let's talk about it.
What it would take for me to think Glaive is the GOAT. I agree with you. I don't think he needs to win both majors. If he brings this to the number one top 3 team in the world, I'd say that makes a very compelling argument that he's the GOAT. If he can do it with another team from a completely different region and very different fundamentals. If he brings this to a top 3 team in the world for a few months, I'd say
there's more of an argument, but it still would be Karrigan. Like it just would.
I prefer Karrigan, but I would say it's toss-up to me. I would say it's a toss-up.
Yes, especially if he can win another major. You know, I'll be hoping for him. I'm not a Glaive hater. I just don't think that he is the best. Okay, you know, I mean, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it just so that there's a little more competition, but I don't think it's going to happen. But what we can talk about is Liquid. Liquid have been playing a couple of NA qualifiers, and they've been struggling quite a bit. I don't know if you've been keeping up with it.
I
they've
just
been losing
watched it, the last one.
The Nouns game.
Yeah.
They're playing another game right now, actually, and they're losing to Wildcard.
Is this the extent of them losing, or have they lost a bunch of other
They've
tournaments?
also been they lost a couple of maps. They lost to M80 twice. They lost in a best of 1 and a best of 3, and a qualifier maybe a month back.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've lost to Nouns, and they're losing to Wildcard. And I don't know if this means that Liquid is bad, because I actually don't think Liquid's bad. When they go overseas and they play in the international tournaments versus tier 1 teams, they actually still look good. But when they come back to NA, they're getting kind of upset. It makes me think NA is actually at a spot now where it might be getting close to pretty good. Like, the tier 2 teams in NA are putting on a pretty compelling argument to say that we might have a couple more tier 1 prospects coming up in terms of teams. Like, realistically, it just makes me happy. Like, I like to see it. Yeah, I really do. That's all. Because seeing Nouns beat them, and then now Wildcard also put up a compelling score line against them. I'm about to take a map. It's 12-4. Definitely makes me wonder.
Here's the question, Austin. This is the question to end all questions, though. Is Junior tier 1 material?
Probably, but it's hard because he needs a really specific playstyle in order to be successful. Yeah, team.
The problem is that if Junior can be good tier 1 material, then your argument, I think, holds weight. But I think it's also possible that Liquid is just doing what most bad NA teams do, as in other teams than Liquid, which is use utility horrifically. Okay, and this is what Smooya said when he was on Chaos. He came back from Chaos. He was like, yeah, NA players, they just don't throw utility. They just don't use utility. They use it terribly. It's just highly ineffective. It's insanely easy to opt. And Junior was looking insane a while back in tier 2 NA. Then he went up to tier 1, got fucking shreked. Although I don't think he was in like the right setup. There's extenuating circumstances.
Well, he played with Furia, right?
Yeah. But he just was missing. He was just getting destroyed. And then he goes back to NA Tier 2, and he's like, I think he pretty quickly did well again.
There was definitely a while where he was struggling, but he ended up coming back.
So I kind of feel like the question is, are Liquid just being too puggy, and NA teams are able to compete with them aim-wise, especially in CS2, or are the Tier 2 teams just better? And like the thing is that Liquid could probably play that same style and beat a lot of good EU teams if they're used to playing against EU teams and dealing with their utility as well. Whereas the NA players, they go over, they can compete aim-wise, but then they get owned in terms of strategically, right?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I just I want to see more Tier 2 teams get opportunities to compete internationally, I guess.
There's almost none.
Since I've been competing in NA, the amount of times I've seen Liquid here in NA actively competing is actually the only time, now that I think it, but it's the only time. So to see them finally be back here and getting beat by the Tier 2 teams, it makes me wonder. It's like, if only we had them around more to maybe like get more opportunities. Like if we could be competing against them instead of them getting directly invited every time, like we might have been able to take them out. We might have been able to get more Tier 2 players over to these events. Not saying they would have did good, but they would have got the experience that would allow them to maybe get better. You know, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, again, I like to see the competition. I like to see Liquid getting, challenged and beat by the teams I play against. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, I mean, what you need is we need more like international events in NA, but the problem is that getting visas to the US is so fucking hard that it seems like tournament organizers have pretty much abandoned the entire concept of...
Yeah, we only have IEM Dallas now.
That's not... Is that even super...
Yeah,
is there a lot of teams coming for that?
Yeah, that's normally a good team.
Yeah.
A good team showing.
Mm-hmm.
But like people like teams like Navi never can go to those like events. Like I think Navi has never been to an NA event in recent memory, or like other CIS teams struggle to get there. But I think we used to have so many events in NA. We had like IEM Chicago, we had the Dallas events, like, and then we also had IEM New York. Those were all really good events as well. We also had the two of the better majors in recent years, which I guess now it's been 5+ years ago. I'm getting old too, but you know, with Boston and Atlanta, both of those being two of the better majors that we've ever seen in CS:GO. It is just kind of sad. It's just kind of sad that NA is not getting as many tournaments, and in return getting less spots, and in return getting less investment. It's just hurting the scene, and it just kind of sucks to see.
Yeah, well, the problem is that tournament organizers kind of went all in Europe, basically, because NA was going downhill during like the COVID era when tournament organizers kind of wanted to cut costs. So I think moving out of NA a little bit was one of the ways you cut costs, because then you're not flying people over fucking 100 people over the Atlantic.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Another event I just remembered that we've lost that was actually really cool was the CS Summit event that they used to do. That event was always like, it wasn't like the most serious event, but that's just another one of the events that's been lost that we used to have here in NA. Mm-hmm. Those events were always pretty fun. Actually, just thinking about it, one of the most iconic plays of all time happened at a CS Summit event. Yeah, the Zywoo 4K on Inferno.
And that's CS, but that's not in NA, was it? Was that in NA?
Yeah, it was in NA. It was the house they had in Cali, the Summit house, I think is where it was. It was in Cali, right?
All right. I never associated CS Summit with NA. It was always its own
little
thing.
Or was it?
I know, it could have been.
I thought it was in NA.
I never thought about it. I never thought about it.
But like the CS Summit, then there was also like the other Cali events that happened, like IEM Oakland, or stuff like that before. Yeah. Like, we've been missing out a lot. iBuyPower Masters, the Vegas events that used to happen too. Mm-hmm. Man, we actually are missing a lot of events that we used to have. A shame.
What you need is like a string of events, because I feel like when it comes to Dallas, I'm guessing what happens is most of the teams fly in, play the event, and fly out like pretty instantly. And if you have a major, they're there for a few weeks at least. If you have a string of events, then they're there for a few weeks, and you actually have practice in NA.
Because what happened like this last year was there was Dallas, and then there was another event the next weekend in DC. So teams were staying here for a little bit longer, which made it worth it. But I know that those weeks that they were here, I actually got to play against those teams and scrim against those teams, which was nice because that's the other thing that like we're forgetting to factor in. It's not just the teams that qualify for the events that are getting experience. It's also the tier 2 teams that are playing because they get to scrim the teams that they never ever get to play. And it's good for play styles. It's good for just getting experience. Those opportunities just don't exist if we don't have more events in NA. I think with like the first year that I started competing was 2020. So I missed out on everything. But that year was supposed to have IEM Denver because I was going to go. There was another IEM Chicago event that was supposed to happen. IEM New York, IEM Dallas. All of those events were supposed to happen that year. Or maybe not New York, but Dallas, Denver, and Chicago.
And
a Blast
too?
LA. Yeah. There was so many events in NA that year. They all got canceled. And Flashpoint was also in NA. That was another. Yeah. There was so many things. And that was also even when NA had its own pro league still back then. All those things removed. All those opportunities to play those teams removed with them. So the scene, of course, got worse because you took, with Valorant coming out, all of the tier 2 teams that had already had that experience, removed them. And now the tier 3 team has to fill the void when the best team in the world, Team Liquid, or the best team in NA, sorry, is not, well, it was actually the world at the time, was not there. They're in Europe for some reason. So who do we get to play as tier 3? We have to fill the void of tier 2 without tier 1 even being there. So that's why the scene got crumpled. Like, how are we supposed to do anything? And then we get our finger pointed at us for NA just being NA players, but we actually just got fucked.
True. And then not only that, but Liquid went EU.
Yeah.
When did they go
also,
EU? Like
this past year, I think.
No, well, they did.
Maybe 2 years.
They did arguably, in contention, the worst roster move of all time. I feel like picking up Patsy and Rainwalker is just like the most epic fucking fail of all fucking time.
Yeah, that one made no sense.
And then they replaced them, and they replaced Daps too. He was coaching for a while, and they replaced, like, what the fuck happened there, man?
Complexity also picked up Halzerk, which took away another NA spot. Like, there was a lot of things that happened. Like, for a while, Complexity didn't even exist. The only like remnants of what tier 2 was like the extra salt roster, or like some random like teams like Party Astronauts. Bad News Bears came out around that time. Like, that was the remnants of tier 2. Those were our good teams. Swisher, like people like him, people like that you coached or that were like advanced or like even main at the time, like came up and took those spots. It just sucks that people just laugh at NA when we've been literally doing everything we can to get better. Granted, we still have moments where we are NA players, but like realistically, the scene's been doing very good. It took us 4 years, but I think right now we finally have done it. I think that this is the turning point, which is to come full circle with Liquid getting battered by tier 2 teams. At least today.
You're gonna stake your reputation on we've done it.
Yeah, I think we finally got to the point where we have done it. I think we finally came to fully healed, at least close to it, closest we've ever been, at the very least.
So you think like M80? If we look at IEM Dallas, where are they gonna place?
They made it to Dallas. M80 did.
Yeah, M80 and Complexity. Let's say them. Are they beating any of 9Z, Monty?
Wait, how did
Falcons,
they do in the
Greyhound?
Oh, 100%.
There's two other close qualifiers.
Let's not be silly. I gotta look because they just played the event wherever they went. They qualified for an event and they had to play with Def, which was sad. I
think that's Dallas. Actually, they're playing with Def also.
Yeah, that's really unlucky. But like, look at this. They 10 rounds versus Gamer Legion, not bad. They 2-0'd this Rooster team, which is whatever. I mean, that's an Aussie team.
Yeah.
But they also look competitive against the Rebels, and that's with Def. Like, yeah, I do think so. I do actually think so. And let's not forget, to qualify for that event, they also had really good teams that they played against. Let me see. Regardless, they definitely have been on a hot streak.
Yeah.
Like, let's look at like the other teams. So like Wildcard and Nouns also competing against these teams. It's a good spot right now. It's a good spot.
Yeah. Okay. So where's Complexity gonna place?
In Dallas?
Yeah, because they should be better than any of these tier 2 teams you're talking about.
They're probably top 6 at least.
Yeah, who is Complexity better than? From that?
I have to look at the list.
Yeah, okay. The list is FaZe, Vitality, Spirit, Mouse, G2, Navi, Falcons, Monty, Big, 9Z, Greyhound.
Complexity probably would be able to comfortably beat Big, 9Z, M80, of course, Greyhound.
Yeah.
They could probably sneak a win versus Monty. Maybe they could play close against a Mouse, maybe Falcons. But yeah, like I said, top 6 seems pretty fitting for Complexity. If they do really good, they could even be top 4.
Yeah, I guess to be fair, this is literally 7 of the top 8 teams at Dallas. So it's like it's not one where you're expecting a lot of upsets. M80 would have been a decent one if you could say they could beat Big or they could beat Monty and they could continue beating like 9Z Greyhound. Yeah, this
that's
IM
how
Dallas does have a shit
they just
ton
got
of really good
invited.
teams.
M80 just got invited? That's crazy. I thought they had to qualify. Wow. They said they got invited. Local hero in parentheses.
I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't know what that means either.
All right. Okay.
Fair enough, though. But yeah, like assuming that this last spot goes to, well, I mean, if Liquid get knocked out here, then not them. But assuming this last spot goes to either Nouns or Wild Card, like that's a team that'll probably get a lot of experience. Granted, Nouns qualified for Dallas last year. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they were there, so you know they definitely could do it.
Slight change of topic, but I want to ask you about Spirit, Austin. What do you think of now that we've seen Donk in a second tournament?
Well, I mean, obviously, I wasn't expecting Spirit to just be the best team in the world because I think, again, last week we talked about we don't have high hopes for Donk to continue that form because it was too good. It's not possible. We were both saying that it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And
then, of course, the matches happened, and he had his 2 or 3 worst maps in a row.
Yeah.
They were all on
maps,
yeah. 2 were on Vertigo, and then 1 was on Mirage.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is expected. Like I said, like it sucks to say, and I'm not a Donk hater, but it's gonna happen, right?
Okay.
But of course, now he's going off of the 1.7 tournament to this, and he's still not even performing bad at that event. Like they qualified 3-1, and Donk was still one of the highest rated players, you know, on his team. So it seems silly to, you know, worry about his performance. But Spirit as a whole, still going to be a top 3 team.
If you were building a team today,
would I pick Donk?
Donk or Simple?
Oh, I would pick Simple.
And fuck that, bro. You're capping.
No, I'm not. No, because yes, Donk would probably be better in the future. But I feel like Simple is way more established in a team sense where I feel like playing with Donk could be too volatile and our results might not be that great. Plus, we have to assume that the reason why Donk is doing so good is because he's been playing with Chopper, and Chopper probably set him up decently well for a lot of things. I feel like Simple probably doesn't need to be set up as much. It'd be better off playing around him for the other players.
Yeah.
But it's not like Donk is a bad pick. Like, they're both good picks.
Well, the problem is that Simple was on a pretty big downswing last year before he stopped playing.
That's true.
He wasn't himself. So even short term, you don't know how he's going to do in CS2.
That's true.
The op is nerfed a bit, but I guess, you know, Simple's not like purely an opper, but he is more of an op player, more so than Zaiwu. I feel like Zaiwu has always been more of a rifler than Simple. He was on a downswing. The op's been nerfed a bit. Plus, he hasn't played CS2 at a professional level. We don't really, like, there can be some differences.
Yep.
Plus, he's old and washed and, you know, whatever else you want to call it.
Not old and washed quite yet.
He's 26, man. He's ancient, okay?
Yeah, he'll be getting up there soon, but not yet.
But
he's still got a couple good
I
years.
feel like I would actually, if I'm building a team.
Like, it depends, though. Like, if you're talking, like, for, like, a year of results, maybe it would be better to invest in Donk.
Yeah, let's say for a year. If you got them for a year, I would be.
The real choice is I would pick Nico, but that's not an option.
I'd be tempted. Well, you could have Nico and Donk on the same team if Donk plays the same style he's playing.
You could.
He wouldn't pull off the same numbers, but the problem is I don't think it's possible to be an entry fragger that has longevity.
Well,
that's like it's possible.
It's like Rain. Rain could be the best player in the world for a couple tournaments in a row, and then he could go back to whatever because it's hard to be consistent as an entry.
Yeah, it's almost impossible, basically. Like your aim is just gonna fluctuate. Like and Donk is playing heavily based off aim. But yeah, I think let's say you're building a team and you get 1-star player. I guess we're both picking Zaiwu. Is that it?
Oh yeah, you have no choice.
Yeah,
you have to pick Zaiwu. You have to because he's just undisputedly the best right now.
Yeah.
Even with Donk's performance, Zaiwu's still looking pretty good. So
I feel like the Donk over Simple pick is like, I feel like people are overrating Donk based off one tournament. However, I feel like people are overrating Simple based off his history in one game.
I feel like I just want to pick Simple because I think it's like a safer pick. Like if we're like
how is that a
gambling-
safer pick? If we're playing for, let's say we're playing for a year, How is that a safer pick than the guy that you know is currently unbelievably good? The safer pick is the guy that was on a downswing and hasn't played this game competitively?
Maybe, like, I don't know. I guess it could just be the history of simple being simple, but I do think that he probably would be a safer pick, but that might be like top 5 instead of number 1 team in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like he's a bad person to have on the team, but if we want the best roster in the world, I guess we would have no choice but to pick Donk.
I'm picking Donk. You can pick Simple if you want. I think you're right that Simple is not just going to fall off a cliff like super hard. And he's got the experience that even if he does fall off, he's probably going to be able to manage it if you build a team around him. But he might just retire again. That's always in the cards.
That is in the cards.
I guess Donk is more likely.
Like I said, I would pick
off,
Nico.
right?
I would pick Nico. I think Nico's playstyle is way more consistent in
even in CS2.
Like, I mean, yeah, I know he hasn't had the best showing in CS2, but like it's just on paper, like I think we both know that Nico is still going to be one of the best riflers in the game. Like regardless of these first 2 events and how they've gone, I think he still has it. Like he doesn't look bad. He just isn't getting as much impact, which we all know will change in the future more than likely.
He's not looked amazing.
Yeah, but he doesn't look like a noob. So that's what
Yeah,
I'm
but he
worried
looks
about.
like Nico if his aim was a bit worse and he's still doing the Nico things and he's like missing some shots that aren't bad misses, but they're like basically, I mean, we both know this, but for chat essentially, you play the style you play is going to be based around your aim. You can play different engagements if your aim is better, or different engagements if your aim or reaction times are worse. Like that's just kind of how it is. So if his aim went down by 20%, he might have to adjust his play style a bit. Like even if he's not missing like terribly, if he's missing what he would normally hit and he keeps playing like he normally plays, he's going to keep getting results like he's currently getting, which are not great.
Yeah. I don't know. Even despite all of that, and this isn't like his history, I still think that Nico's probably a safer pick than Donk for the volatility thing. Because we don't want 1.7 Donk and then all of a sudden 0.8 Donk. Like, that's a very big difference in performance. And
have you seen Nico's gaps in performance? Hold on. Let me pull Nico up real quick. I'm pretty sure he's had some pretty wild maps in terms of wild crosshair not 100%. Being on the opponent at all. He's had some 100%. Bad games. I think it's hard to put so much stock into Donk's performance because it is a one-off at the end of the day, and to pick him up over somebody who has a much more established history is, I don't know. We're in a different game, Austin. We're playing CS2.
But we're not.
Like this is like if you had the best Valorant player of all time, and it's like, well, you could pick him up, or you could pick up Twist.
Yeah, but
and it's like, well, I mean, it's a different game. It's a different game.
It is a different game, but I still feel like there's a reason why the best players are still the best players.
Is like, Nico? Well, Nico's not the best player. Simple's not the best player, and Donk is the best player. You're trolling.
Yeah,
the best players are the best players. The best players are not the best players.
ZywOo went from number 1 in the world in CSGO, and then in CS2, he got it. Rops was one of the best players in CSGO, and then transitioned
He's
into
gotten
CS2.
better in CS2.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, but that's not every player is going to be different. I'm just saying that the games are different enough that it's not actually perfectly consistent. You can't 1-to-1 predict, I think, that the players that did really well.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, like Donk isn't even playing bad in the RMR when they qualify. That's not my point. Like it's not like he's like, oh my god, it's either hit or miss with this guy. Like if he's on, he's on. If he's off, oh man. Like he's still obviously really good. The point is though, is I feel like I don't want that volatility for my entry. You know, I just don't. I don't
give
know.
Me an entry that's your Rain's your favorite.
I would
player.
pick Rain. If I had to pick an entry, I would pick Rain. But
and he's not volatile.
No, I don't think so. I feel like he does a really good job. Like FaZe are a top 5 team for a very long time, but he's been on every iteration of that roster, playing the same role every time.
Yeah, like that's because he's playing with Karrigan.
And I'm not saying you're wrong, but Rain is really good. Definitely underappreciated. I'll say it over and over and over.
I think if you have a player like Rain, I think you're expecting results like G2. This is like kind of wild to say, but like. I want to talk about HOOXI and what he's getting out of G2 because I feel like when you look at G2's results, they are not good enough for the players that they have. However, when you break down the results that they have, if you look at the games they lose, it's games where either one of Nico or Monacy is shitting the bed, and Hunter also, or like Nexa also. It's always like a game, the games they lose that they really get upset in, it's like historically bad performances from two of their players. And it just like, it happens way too often. And when you look at like teams that do really well, I feel like you're looking at teams that have like a backbone of players that always consistently do amazing. Like if you look at even FaZe, they have like Brokey and Robs.
That's why I'm saying like FaZe is a really good team for that, because consistently like Rain is always getting his.
I think that's Karrigan finding consistency with fairly inconsistent players, which I don't think even good IGLs, because I don't think HOOXI is a bad IGL. I think it's very hard to find consistency with inconsistent players, and I think you see that with a lot of IGLs. Like I think Alexi B is an example. If you're like when he had wait, he was IGLing Nip with config for a bit, wasn't he, or was that like short term?
Yes, I don't know.
I think like anyone IGLing config, for example, like anyone that IGLs him, you have inconsistent inconsistent fragging. It's really fucking hard for an IGL to do well, because you send a guy in and it's like, well, I want to send him in for a duel that he's going to win to get him some confidence, and he loses it because he's just like having that bad of an off game, right? Like it's very hard for that. And I think Karrigan, to some extent, is making Rain seem like he's like amazing, or like somewhat not.
That just goes into the Karrigan GOAT status again, though.
He's overshadowing Rain's inconsistency. I think if you saw Rain with a different IGL, he would look more inconsistent.
I don't want to see Rain with a different IGL because I know you're right.
Yeah.
No, 100%. But I mean, that's what makes that team work, and that's what makes these players so good. Is because when Karrigan gives them the ability to overlook inconsistency, like that's really good if they can take that, like there's some players that would still not be able to take that lifeline and use it.
It does also feel like Rain pops off in the tournaments that matter, it seems like. It's
hard to say. And when I watched the FaZe versus Spirit game, the only person that was consistently winning duels versus Donk was Rain. And that's not even like bias. I mean, seriously, like I watched a lot of rounds where Rain and Donk took head-on-head duels, and Rain was winning most of the time that he had a fight against Donk. And I don't think I'm not saying that Rain is better than Donk. I'm saying that as an entry, I don't think that Rain is a bad pick.
I think it's a wild pick to pick over Donk. I don't think it's a bad
over
pick.
Donk. Yeah, I would pick Rain. I would also pick Nico, and then I would also pick Guardian and Olaf and no.
I'm seeing people in chat. Someone in chat said something about Donk doing well at the Armor, right? You responded to that, but
yeah,
I feel like it's important to keep in mind multiple events. I don't think that matters that much. It's the time period. It's like 2 events within a few weeks.
Within 2 weeks.
Yeah. His aim is what's doing really well. Like he's got like a lot of other abilities that are like doing really well, but like his aim is his core skill set, and that's gonna not go away between 2 tournaments. Most likely it's gonna be like 3 months from now is his aim falling off a little bit. Like is he out of the groove or something? Like multiple events, I wouldn't generally expect him to play all that differently between 2 events, except for teams like trying to counter shroud him,
which like could be the case as well. It could be the case that from Katowice already we're seeing the repercussions of people looking into his game and being ready to play against him.
Yeah.
It could be that. It could be that quick of a turnaround. It was only 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
But 10 days is a long time when you have, really good tacticians that can kind of dig deep, when every team has a fucking IGL coach, assistant coach, analyst, assistant analyst, fucking general manager who's giving insight. Like there's a lot of people that are looking at this stuff.
You got 6 monitors.
And exactly. And you take all of that and multiply it by the top 20 teams that have to play him. There's a lot of people looking at his games. Like,
yeah. What do you think of G2? I gave my somewhat
I think G2
my
is
opinion on that, but
G2 is a really good team, but I'd like to start over with them. I think the problem is that they made a really big a questionable decision with picking up Nexa. Like, I understand Nexa is friends with Hunter and Nico. Sure. But are we really just picking up our friends again? Like,
No, Nico has no control over the roster. Austin, he said this many times. He's
yeah,
not
that's
having any
clearly-
impact on the roster
yeah,
at all.
clearly. That's why we keep seeing the same players brought up, even when the other players are not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's got no. He's
But well, actually, so I would like to say
just a
that I
passenger,
think
Austin.
Nico, Hunter, and Monacy, like it's hard to not take that 3 players and be a top 5 team. But somehow we found the world where that's possible. I don't know why. Like with HOOXI and Nexa, this team is not playing better than they are. But we got to figure something out. I don't know if it's HOOXI's fault. It probably even isn't. So I just think that like they were better. They looked better when they had JKS. Not to say Nexa's bad, but it does. It's just
Nexa's bad.
It's a weird
You
choice
say
to
Nexa's
bring Nexa
bad.
in.
No, you gotta say the words. Nexa is bad. He's
Nexa's
not
a bad
good.
pick for G2. Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
He's not. He's not.
There's so many
yeah.
players that they could have picked up instead. Like, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. But again, with Monacy and Nico, you already have like, you can win any game basically if they're on. The rest of the players don't matter, but they've been off recently here and there. And I feel like we need more. So
Yeah, the problem is.
I don't know where
they've
we're
been-
looking.
They can
Yeah,
lose
they
any
have
game
been
too.
off.
They can
Yeah,
lose
they-
any. I don't know what the solution is. Definitely replace Nexa, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I think Nexa definitely needs to go. I don't think HOOXI needs to be replaced because I think the entire reason why they have the freedoms that they're allowed to have is because like HOOXI is gonna let them do that. You know, some IGLs are a little more strict. Like Karrigan would let Nico and Monacy play up to their full extent, you know, but I don't know. Maybe we just need to get Goat Glaive in here, huh? See if he can take these guys and make them the best in the world, huh?
maybe that is it. I mean, because like if you look at games where G2 gets upset, G2 would be like they got upset by Ents. And who did bad in that series? Hunter shit the bed, and Nico did not do very well either. And it's like there's a big fucking problem if your best rifler is like just all of a sudden. It's not like if he goes from like 1.3 rating and then he has a game where he's got like 1.1 rating. That's, you know, it is what it is. If he's like a good game from him is like 1.5 rating and a bad game is like 0.8, it's like it takes a lot. I think
So we just talked about with Donk.
Yeah. It takes a lot to be able to work around that, to be able to figure your way out
Because
of your
what
best
that
player
is-
being your worst player.
What that is every time your best player normally would get a 2K, he's getting none.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like. The ability to win rounds gets hurt a lot just by that. But you know, that's just the nature of CS. You need to have people that can fill that when like it shouldn't just be all on Nico or Monacy. Like there needs to be like some support. Like that's why Hunter and Nexa are supposed to be on the roster. Like those are like solid players. Like, oh, if Nico only gets 1 today instead of 2, like he would always get, I can get the other one for him and it won't be a big deal. But they're just not. Like they don't look as good as they possibly could. And it's just like I feel like we need better players on the roster.
Well, that's the thing, because I think if you look at any GOAT candidate team, they have players, I feel like, that are more consistent than what I've been seeing from Nico or Hunter almost ever, like outside of like 3-month periods.
I don't think replacing Hunter would be a good idea, to be honest.
It would be a big, I mean, first things first, you have to replace Nexa, but you need to get someone that's good, but like just a stable. I think you need a stabilizing force on G2. That's because like when I think about the teams that have the level of star power that G2 have, Monacy and Nico, and turn them into what in theory should be like a GOAT candidate team in theory. You have like Fnatic had Crims, Astralis had like Magisk and Device, you know, like SK had Coldzera. All of these teams that you think about as like turning star players into like these amazing rosters, they have more passive players that always do good. They never shit the bed. You have 100% confidence they're gonna.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is a roster built out that is always gonna be inconsistent.
We just need them to pick up Fur and Taco, and we'll be back. We'll be so back.
Yeah, they if they replace who are they going to replace Nexa with? JKS. Let's go next to JKS.
That I was gonna say. It sounds like you just need somebody like JKS on the team, but what do I know? I remember the day that happened, and I was like listening and seeing all of the news about it. Like it wasn't even like G2 had bad results. It seemed to me like one day they woke up and went, "Yeah, I want to play with Nexa," and then that was how it went.
Yeah.
You know.
There must have been some internal issues. There has to.
Had to have been. I mean, for JKS to get ghosted while they were in Australia.
Australia,
I mean, he was at home, I guess. They didn't feel as bad about it, but that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Like he's just sitting there waiting for, hey, when's next practice, boys?
They gotta figure
Just-
something out. Yeah, they gotta. I mean, next is just not it. But it's just
Yeah.
interesting if you look at the games they lose where they're upset. Usually it's Nico and Hunter, but sometimes Monacy and Hunter. And
Yeah.
occasionally Monacy and Nico shitting the bed like historically.
Yeah.
But maybe
You
that's
just
the
need-
HOOXI thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but all of these, like, it's not on just 3 players on the team. Like, again, like HOOXI and Nexa are both IGLs. Like, Nexa is an IGL. Like, why is he on the team? That's like when FaZe was subbing Existin for Olaf. Like, why? Like, like, it didn't make any sense. Like, I get that it was a substitute and that's completely different, but like having 2 IGLs on the roster, like, I guess, but like it makes no sense. Like,
Well, they think Nex is. I mean, this could be a covert op where you get Nex on the roster and then it's like, well,
and then,
why don't we
yeah.
try him IGLing for a game or two to see how it goes?
I'm sure it's already happened. I'm sure it already happened. It could be happening right now, and they could be practicing right now. And Nex is IGLing, and HOOXI's just shaking his head because he knows it's over.
I mean, that honestly, I feel like if you had Nexa calling,
and soon Yenko will be coaching, and then we'll be.
I feel like replacing JKS honestly isn't replacing a HOOXI and keeping Nexa is not a crazy decision.
I mean, it only makes sense at this point. That's the worst part. HOOXI did nothing wrong, but now it doesn't make sense to have HOOXI on the team if they're gonna have Nexa.
Well, he did nothing wrong except get mediocre results with Nico and Monacy on the roster.
That's true.
And not really kill anyone almost ever.
If they did go the route of playing with Nexa instead of HOOXI, I will say it does make their possible firepower level a lot higher.
Yeah.
Because Nexa does shoot, which is cool. But who's going to replace HOOXI then?
I mean, almost anyone, really.
Coldzera.
For being honest. I mean, you could basically get anyone. And it would be an upgrade.
You're not wrong. We honestly
shit.
do just need anybody. But yeah, unlucky for G2.
That's all my topics, Austin. I didn't have a lot of topics.
You didn't have any other ones today? Hold on. Let me see if I can scrape together a few here. I think there's at least one more to talk about. So did you see this IRL CS2 LaserTag event that they're running?
I saw you link me it, but I was in
sent it to
bed.
you last night, but
and it tilts me because you can't watch Twitch when you're on your phone.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. There's I think I want to call it tier 3 event going on, which is CS2 best of 3 with LaserTag as a decider. And
what
I don't
the
think
fuck?
that I'm not joking. And there's a bomb site. There's like C4, like, you know, you plant the bomb, defuse the bomb. The maps are laid out. It's LaserTag, and I don't think, of course, anything of this like competitively, but I do think it's pretty cool, and I wouldn't mind seeing more events like that in the future, just because they're fun. They give me the CS Summit vibes, where it's like it's a little more low key. Yeah, we're playing CS. Yeah, there's some cool stuff happening, but at the end of the day, it's LaserTag.
That is fucking wild.
It's pretty cool. It is. It's definitely a fun little event. It's called Games of the Future. I think it's just it's a Russian event though, so like there's only really teams from Asia that are competing, but it looks like fun. Yeah, it's called Games of the Future. Let me see if I can find it and show a little bit on stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. This does sound lit.
It is. I can't lie. Here, I'm gonna post the link to. They also have Dota and League of Legends, and they settle their best of 3s with basketball.
Why?
Basketball and 5v5 soccer. Hold on, let me see if I can find a little bit of the CS event yesterday. But yeah, no, it is like, oh, here we go, I found it. I'll just show a little bit on stream from the VOD yesterday with no casters, but with basically like the entire point was it is exactly like you think. Like they have the spawns, and they have a map, they have a legitimate kill feed as well.
Dude, it would be so sick if this was just the whole event. Fuck using that as a decider, dude.
I agree.
Just make this the whole event.
Look at the top. So they have a radar with the map layout, and they have arrows showing who's going where. They have the C4, of course, which gets planted. They have bomb site. This is a custom map for LaserTag.
Why don't they make dude, a whole event where you have Mirage, Dust 2,
this
Inferno?
Would be a spectacular event to run. The one thing I really like about this is that there's so many factors that are like actually like cool. Like you can't talk to your teammates. You can plant the bomb as fast as you can type in the code. You can defuse as fast as you type in the code. You have height advantage if you're tall. And if you're fast, then you're fast. Your B rushes are kind of sick. There was a round where they ran a B rush and I laughed my ass off because it was a B rush in real life.
You could play like real CS, because you could have the Apple Vision Pro or whatever, and someone throws a smoke, and if you're in the smoke, your screen just goes black.
Augmented reality. Yeah.
You could have fucking actual map layout.
Yeah, you could.
Oh, that would be so sick, dude.
And you know, it's getting to the point where this actually could be the beginning of something really fucking cool. I was enjoying watching this event last night, and the worst part was I think the viewership hit like 300. That was it. So it's not getting a lot of love for the production that it has, but this is definitely something that I would love to see more of in the future. Like genuinely, if I saw more of that in the future, it would make me happy.
That would be fucking lit. Yeah.
Yeah. But
if they did it with real map, fuck this custom map shit though.
Yeah, I agree. But for the first one ever, I don't mind the custom map. So there's a team that had Doja. Yes, that Doja that you're thinking of playing in this event, and Mo, basically like the old Gambit guys, and they had subs for LaserTag. I guess they didn't.
They had subs for LaserTag.
Yeah, they had a 6-man roster so that Doja didn't have to go play LaserTag. But because he's not a good tactician, we'll just say. That's what it was.
I mean, there are injury risks, I guess, if you're playing.
There's injury risk, and then also like. You're not going to have someone like me out there, like what am I going to do, bro? I'm like the fucking site anchor. You think I'm rushing B? Hell nah, buddy. I'm in the back. Like I'm
These
not
maps are pretty small, bro. You can do it.
Yes, I understand. But I'm saying if you have like think about like me and then think of someone who's like, Donk. Like he's like, a smaller kid and he's going to be fast.
Okay, no, he's going to break his fucking leg on the first corner. Okay, like everyone has their advantages, okay?
Yeah, everyone has advantages. And I actually really liked it. So I sent it to you last night. I wanted to watch it with you, but you were, asleep. It was 10 p.m.
I wake up at 6 a.m. to play hockey on Sundays, which is why Sunday podcast day is rough.
Yeah, I see. Well, regardless, that event is still going on. So for everybody that's watching, you guys can tune in tonight. I think tonight or tomorrow night they're playing the finals or something. So it is only for the decider though. So remember, if it's only for map 3. The first 2 maps are CS2.
That's dumb.
I agree. But I like watching LaserTag. It is really cool.
Yeah.
But that's a unique event that we I want to see more of, like those like low key, like it doesn't really matter events. Those are kind of fun.
Yeah, I think those are missing. It's like mid-budget movies not existing anymore, right? It's like
like everybody's trying to be highest production value, like looking the cleanest. Like we're missing the CS summits or like the show match tournaments that they used to run, or just show matches in general. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, here's a question that's interesting. Okay, I've noticed recently that I've like started playing Faceit again. This is something I've noticed really for a long time, but I'm noticing it again. There are so many fucking players that like skyrocket to Faceit 10, like 500 games, they're Faceit 10 or something. And then they just sit at like somewhere between 1800 and 2200 elo for 2,000 games. Like they never actually get any fucking better once they get to Faceit 10.
I think the reason that happens is because those are probably players who don't really invest time into like learning how to play the game. And a lot of them are just mechanically really good. So they just run it down. And most of their plays are things that they either came up with or somebody showed them. And they're not actively seeking out ways to improve. So they're just good enough to kind of be like, gatekeepers of level 10, basically, where like they're just going to run at you.
2,000 games? You know the people I'm talking about. They literally have like 2,000-3,000 games at the same elo.
They're definitely just gatekeeping level 10s. They never will play on like teams, so they'll never learn how to play like higher level CS. They're just good enough to be better than you. That's pretty like that's like it. I mean,
like there's that many of them.
The stuff that I mean there is, because there's so many people who have no interest in the pro scene or like learning how to play. Like there's a lot of people who get on every day that like will watch YouTube stuff like how to get better, and that's it. Or at a certain point, they won't even seek out information anymore. Like that's the reason why like our channels are so good. I have a lot of people that will come to our streams, or my stream, I guess you don't stream anymore, and they'll say like that they don't watch pro games and they just learn from YouTube. There's a lot of people who don't like, do stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I guess
that's probably.
I'm thinking I'm attributing what you're saying to, I think what might be happening is they hit level 10 and they're like, okay, that's the goal. Now I don't have to like focus on improving anymore.
Yeah.
And then they just basically are like, okay, well, it's the same thing I do with chess, really, which is like I just log in when I'm like bored and I play, 10 or 15 games, and I don't give a fuck if I get any better. Which I feel like you have to care at some point to get to level 10, especially in NA, where it's like a lot better than just 2,000 elo in EU. But
yeah, I don't know why people still
yeah.
argue that to this day.
Because EU people from EU, bro,
They're elitist.
They have that's all they have. Because they're shit at CS and they don't do anything. So if their region isn't better, then what do they have? They have nothing. They built their whole personality on EU better.
Yeah, I know. It's actually kind of annoying because I hit 3K elo for the first time in CS2, and I was like, oh, I finally hit 3K elo. And everybody was like, 3K elo NA is like 2,200 in EU, so it's not even that good. And I'm just like, what? I was like, if I went to 3K elo in EU, you know what would happen? I would farm.
Yeah.
Because I would probably get to 3,500 elo with my eyes closed.
I don't, yeah. And the problem is that everyone that goes between EU and NA always say the same thing.
The EU's easier to pug. They always say the EU elo is inflated, and so if you go from NA elo to EU elo, you're going to be effectively smurfing. I've always heard that said. I think EU has better players. I think EU has better teams, but I think the EU elo is inflated. So now when I get random bots that come to my stream that have 2,500 elo, they think that they're God's gift if they were to come to NA.
Yeah.
But in reality, they would be like stuck level 8 in between 1,800 and 22 playing against Voo every day.
Listen,
That's the truth.
I'll be above that if I'm playing every day, all right? I'm not playing every day and stuck there, okay? We'll get out of this rut, okay?
I believe you, bro. If you ever need some coaching, hit me up.
Oh, suck my dick, okay? You know what's actually really funny is I was refreshing my nuke the other day. What actually happened is that someone asked for coaching, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'd want to really sell demo reviews at the moment because like I'm just so like I haven't updated my knowledge into CS2 all that much. I'm getting there, but like a month ago I was like thinking this, and even the maps that I know really well are no longer popular. Like it used to be like I'd be like, don't give me a Vertigo game. If you want it, like if you want more than macro commentary, don't give me a Vertigo game. Anyways, Nuke was the map that I updated recently. And it's really fucking funny because a lot of the stuff that I remember, like when I was coaching your team, someone always wanted to go fucking Twinkie. Someone like Marshmallow. Someone always wanted to go Marshmallow. And it's like, look, here's the top 10 pro teams. Not a single one of them send a fucking player there ever on any round ever, except for if they have a Deagle. But now now it's like standardized. And it's like the same thing with mollying down vent. That used to be like, no, don't do that. Nobody does that. I've seen some teams doing that. There's like 3 things that like NA tier 2 teams wanted to do that no pro team did, and then now in CS2 it's like, yeah, actually we're doing that. What do you think is the change there? Yeah, what do you think is the?
I don't know. It is weird because I know that there's always been teams that have had players that like to go top silo. There's tactical benefits from going up there, stopping the back red cross, holding secret late in the round, or even challenging the credit guy if he doesn't have an op. Dropping top mini is always really good if you get the chance to. I think it was just underutilized in CSGO because it was a lot harder to do anything. But with the new top mini smoke that gets thrown a lot, I feel like if you get to top mini, you can actually be a little more safe at the beginning of the round.
So Navi's doing that, yeah. But FaZe is dropping a lot onto top mini, and they're not throwing that. They're just throwing the standard like flash then drop.
Yeah, well, getting to top mini is actually not too challenging. In theory, if you have good flashes to blind the guy holding you. So top mini is a really good spot because you can wrap outside, you can obviously drop back and just lurk, or you can go into mini. I think it was just underutilized in CSGO.
Okay, so
except for in set strats.
I'll give you my theory. You can tell me what you think. Like when I was watching Navi and some teams that like to throw early outer smokes a lot, then you have to throw, they're almost obliged to throw the 4th smoke for the early outer molly, right? So the way Na'Vi went top mini or like top Twinkie silo and then drop top mini, I was like, okay, so the idea is basically that they need to save some utility somewhere, and so having a guy go silo to cover that play at least saved them something, so they weren't like throwing away all their utility for fucking free every round. But other teams are doing that and they're not smoking off the molly. I guess it's just a safe way to do things.
I think it just makes outside control a lot easier to take.
Yeah.
Again, just the underutilized in CSGO thing is probably the most likely thing. The top mini smoke makes it a lot easier.
I don't know, underutilized.
Like I said, well, it was used in set strats a lot. Like I think at the phase wrap where they would do the A split or ROPS play, or on ecos they would do that to try to wrap outside quick. But it was never really done like in a default round. But now it is, because it makes taking outside control a lot easier, because you have a guy that can always jump unbreakable, or if you want to split, he can go into mini right away, and he's safe. You can't clear it unless you push outside, and it's going to be hard if it's an outside default. So yeah,
maybe it's just you think it's because you're thinking underutilized. I have more respect for pro teams than that. I think it's something that people love doing in pugs. So I think if it was just underutilized, I feel like there would be teams that were doing it in CS:GO. It wasn't underutilized. It was like on defaults, on like a outer cross smoke round, or like a.
At least from what I remember playing CS:GO, there was a lot of teams that did that against us.
Yeah, in NA. I mean, like top 10, top 20 teams. None of them did it. Nobody did it.
Could just be untapped tier 2 stuff.
Well, that's what I mean, because I feel like all of those players in top 20 teams probably did it in pugs. They probably went silo in pugs because everyone does it and did it. But they didn't do it on their team. And because they did it in pugs, they must have tried it on their teams, and there must have been good reasons. And there are good reasons, because if you go top mini, you have to make noise getting down. You have to make noise getting off silo. You don't have a player in lobby. It's harder to cross like with an extra player, but you can still kind of make it happen. It gives away some information, and if you die, you have unused and unretrievable utility in theory. There's like good reasons not to do it, but I want an explanation that is CS2 changed X or Y, because I feel like it has to be.
I don't think there is.
Yeah.
I think that's just how it shifted. It could also be maybe the fact that outside smokes are a lot less safe because you can get them blown open.
Yeah.
And having a guy top mini that can stand up and shoot the people spamming the smokes is always really nice.
That has been my best kind of explanation for it. I didn't want to spoil it. I didn't want to
I mean, eventually, like I was probably going to get to that, but I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, the problem is that's the only explanation I can come up with. But is that the best explanation ever?
No, probably not, because I feel like ever since the dropping smokes for one player to throw smoke stuff came, it's kind of like allowed people to do whatever they want. Like you can have a guy that goes top silo to top mini by dropping a smoke to a guy to throw the outside smokes. He mollies top HUD as he's going to silo, and then he has the 2 flashes for himself. Like,
what did they fucking do to the fast top silo route? I get up there, I get on there, and I fall off. I literally fall like a decent 20% of the time. I jump because I'm not on like the perfect ledge, and then you get stuck, and then you just slide back down.
Yeah, there's something really weird with like collision.
Frozen doesn't even do it. He does the long way.
Yeah. There's something weird with collision while you're jumping on top of things. So this happens on silo all the time, but it also happens like trying to jump up like A site heaven on Anubis. If you try to jump up into heaven, you'll get clipped. Like a motherfucker. Yeah, like that one is really common. There's another one that happens a lot on Ancient. I cannot remember what it is right now, but there's a lot of like instances of that. I'm assuming that'll probably get ironed out eventually.
I don't even think that Valve knows it exists. I would bet you they don't. But the problem is I'm seeing other players like who isn't on Navi that always does the jump? Bit. Yeah, Bit doesn't. He goes the fast route and he never misses. He's like first shot, one shot every time. How are people doing this?
I'm sure there's a way to be more consistent with the new finicky mechanics if you practice it. Like, I don't know.
I'm falling off of the silo trying to jump up, man. Like, it's a fucking joke. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I do the same thing. But to go back to what you were talking about the nuke changes, like mulling down vent, the reason why people are doing that is because it's pretty much impossible to stop people from going down the vent if you have a bad spawn.
But it's always been that way, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
But getting somebody down secret is even more valuable now because the outside smokes are a lot less reliable to do that.
So here's my theory, actually. This theory actually makes a lot of sense. In CS2, because you have MR12, okay, I think, tell me if I'm cooking, okay? In CS2, because you have MR12, you can't accept as much randomness, where your setup can just kind of somewhat be countered. So you're making the safer plays more often to make sure, yeah.
Falling down Vent is safer because the one time that it might happen would lose you the round in theory, so you would play for that because you don't want it to be random.
Yeah, instead you throw the molly early and you have a slightly worse round in average round, but you're not losing. And the same thing with the silo thing. You might be slightly worse. But if it
works, you have a way better position.
Yeah, and you're making sure that that guy that does go for the, like, that tries to get into secret or tries to get into fucking, like, T-Red or whatever, like, the glaive smoke is basically somewhat nullified, right? You're preventing that potential round-winning play from happening to a major extent.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory. That's the theory I'm going
No,
with.
I think that definitely holds some weight. Even if it's subconscious and players aren't thinking of it that way, it definitely makes sense.
Austin, why do good girls like bad boys?
Oh man.
Why do the girls like the bad boys?
I don't know. I have no idea. This is a topic I don't know if I know too much about.
Austin, your chat needs your advice.
Okay, let me think. Is it because...
Don't ask the question. You're giving advice. This is not a question.
I don't know.
Austin.
I can't think from like a girl's perspective trying to like I don't know what it is about a bad boy that's like, oh fuck, you know, like that's not me, but I don't know. Do you have any idea maybe?
Yes.
Really?
I have the answer, but I can't give that away to you for free.
Oh, really? So to get the answer, you're saying that you need to sub to the Patreon?
Yes, you should sub to the Voostin Patreon, patreon.com/Voostin. We still have not honored our
extra
$20 tier, or the extra content. Well, actually, I'm probably putting
That's because nobody's paid for the $20
I'm putting some extra content. Well, I think we actually have to start making it. I realized that with my OnlyFans that has nothing on it and no subs ever, that if you promise to make something later, you've got to start making the content first. Even if it's inconsistently making the content has to exist, so there's a backlog so people can watch it.
Yeah, we gotta get some content on there. So
this should be
you can tell me
Patreon.
Why is it?
Listen, Austin, here's the problem, okay? The nice guys basically are fucking losers that have no confidence and they got no game and they never make a move, okay? That's the problem.
Yeah, okay.
The bad boy, they have a mystique. They have an aura, okay? Okay?
Yeah.
They don't respond to text for several days, okay? They're mysterious, okay? And when they're together with someone, they're making moves left and right, okay? And they're getting rejected some of the time, but they're getting what they want. Or not getting what they want, but they're getting an answer to what they want. There's your problem, okay? That's my
I understand, right? So there's like a charm about somebody who is more confident.
Problem is you don't have me on this podcast. Yeah, we should get your girlfriend in here. She can tell you.
All right, you want to add her in?
Yeah, let's get her in here. She can answer the question.
All right, hold on. Let me just. All right, we'll add her in. Let's see what she says. This is interesting. I am kind of curious.
You know, there's a fucking CS podcast.
It doesn't matter. We talked about this. We don't have to just stay in the lane of CS.
Why did you bring this up, Austin? This is like not.
You read it out loud.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You read it.
No, this sound. I only read it because I could see you reading it. I could see your eyes shifted to chat. I saw you read that message directly. I saw you read it and you were distracted, and I had to bring it up.
That's just not true.
What do you mean it's not true? It's the fucking state of the matter.
I didn't read that message. I was reading FDAX.
I saw you reading it.
He paid $20 for the thing, but yeah, that's just not true.
Austin, what is oiled up? I saw someone in stream say it, and you responded, and I was like, what the fuck? This is not a thing.
Well, oiled up means oiled up, you know?
No!
Oil it up.
Is that like when you're like rich, like Oilers, like you got like the fucking oil money? So you're like, when you get oiled up, is that when someone donates like $100 or whatever? You're getting oiled up?
You're getting oiled up, you know?
Yeah, kind of, but also it could just mean that you're like, you know, you're kind of him, you know, like you're kind of buff, you're kind of looking good.
Yeah, you're like putting on some baby oil.
No,
what the fuck?
I meant more like
I'm just guessing.
Like you can lift some weights, maybe, you know.
This has not solved the question in any. It's if anything, I have more
So,
questions.
Let me tell you something. Girls don't actually like bad boys. All right? You both need to understand this. Girls think they like bad boys.
Ooh, there you go.
Mm,
And there is a big difference. Because
all
then they
right.
get
Hearing
with
that, chat?
a bad boy, and then they regret everything. And then they're traumatized. And then they turn like 35 and they're like, oh, it's the nice boys. And then they get married to a nice boy and live happily ever after.
Okay, so all the virgin nice guys in chat.
Yeah, they got time. They got time.
They just
Unless
need
they're
to
like
hang
50.
on. They just need
and
to hang
then-
on. When they're 35, they'll
Yeah, but if you're
It'll
50,
all
like I would
work
just
out.
probably give up maybe.
If you're 50, I swear to God, if anyone's 50 watching this fucking podcast, okay, they need to sub to the Patreon,
You just
patreon.com/Voostin.
lost, like 10% of your viewers, bro.
Patreon.com/Voostin.
Yeah,
Get up in here.
patreon.com/Voostin.
If you're 50, you can afford our Patreon, I hope.
Chat, if you're real, you'll sub to the Patreon. And if you're fake, you won't.
There you
No
go.
pressure, though. No pressure. All right. I'm glad I answered your question, boys.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate it. That's why you're my favorite
No worries.
streamer.
I got you. Anytime, anytime. Yeah, you
Yeah,
hear that,
You're
chat?
my favorite streamer too.
Yeah, you hear that? Yeah, that's
Yeah, well,
right.
she actually responds when I send messages in chat, unlike fucking you that simply won't take fish oil, won't do cold
Bro.
showers, and won't go to bed at a good time.
What? Bro, I just woke up. I don't know what you're talking about.
When did you actually wake up today, Austin?
6 p.m.
Are you
Local.
actually serious?
Yes,
Bro, and you're saying you're not feeling good when you wake up?
that's correct, sir. Yes. I think you
Chat.
need to understand, okay? Look. Everything that I do in my life is all oriented around CS. And for some reason, all of the NA stuff starts at about 7 to 8 p.m. And then people stay up like fucking degens all night. It's not just me. I'm not just sitting
So
there.
you're
listening to
playing
fucking-
Counter-Strike at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
You're playing high-level pugs.
If you want to call them high level.
What are you doing at 8 a.m.?
At 8 a.m., last night I was talking to my coach about CS stuff.
Okay. But you can do that at any time.
No, because we were both on the T-Gen schedule because we stay up all night.
Yeah, well, you're perpetuating it. Surely you can, like, I don't know, man.
Look, man, you know, everybody can operate on their own, like, schedule. I just never see the sun. When I see the sun, I'm just like, bedtime.
I think
That's like how I live my life.
I don't even think this is a personal preference thing. I think it's a human nature thing that you aren't gonna feel good if you're going to sleep when the sun's out because you're not gonna. Well, I mean, like you don't get good sleep if you have sunlight exposure.
Well, look,
you're just
the
not gonna
truth
feel good.
is, I wouldn't go outside anyway to get the sunlight.
No,
so it
like
doesn't
sunlight
make it-
is like it's your fucking circadian rhythm, dude. I've known people that worked graveyards. I've known several of them, and they all say that when they worked graveyards, they never got a comfortable night's sleep. They always felt like they were
Well,
fucking perma tired.
I get some good sleep, bro. I get some good sleep.
If you're waking up feeling like shit, then you're not sleeping that
Yeah,
well.
I always wake up feeling like shit.
You're
but
supposed to
even
wake
when I
up
was,
feeling
like,
refreshed, Austin.
I mean, I get there. I get there
After an
eventually.
energy drink or two? Yeah.
After I start to wake up a little bit, get the monster, the
yeah.
fucking midnight monster.
Yeah, so you're basically permanently sleep deprived, and you're like, don't worry, I got my
I'm
monster.
not sleep deprived. I'm just on a terrible schedule.
Yeah, which is making you not get the correct amount of whatever sleep that you need to not be sleep deprived.
Well, look, I feel fine once I get cooking, you know? But,
Once you have several
it takes-
energy drinks
It's not
and
no,
have a therapy
look,
session and talk
Yeah.
to your dog. you know,
Yeah. Look, I wake up and watch the sun set, and I
Wake up
get
and
on
watch
my
the
computer,
sunset.
and by
Oh
the time
my
I'm done on my
God,
computer,
Austin.
no, I'm serious. And by the time I get on my computer or get off, the sun is up. I see the sun the entire day. Just
Oh boy. You know what would help with this, Austin? If you started taking fish oil. Okay.
fish oil won't help me, man.
I think fish oil could solve all of your problems, Austin.
You know what would help me is if you started talking about something different.
Okay. Let's
Let's come up
I
with
had
something
plenty
else.
of.
I
had
would rather you try to sell me actual steroids than fish oil at this point.
Austin, how much do you need to bench before you are supposed to start taking steroids?
Bro,
until you start
I
juicing,
have
juicing
no
up the gills.
idea.
Once I start benching 100 pounds, can I start hitting up the roids, boys?
Are you benching 100 pounds?
I'm nearly there. I'm getting there. I'm close.
Okay. Why would you ever take steroids?
You got to get gassed up, man. I got to be synthesized. Not
Bro,
that,
Simphus doesn't do steroids.
you don't think he juices?
Does he?
This isn't even something I want to speculate on, but I would need roids
I
to
don't
get the
think so.
Synphis size.
Yeah, I would too, to be honest. Well, maybe not actually. I feel like if I just took a fucking U-turn in my life and became like a gym junkie, I feel like I'd probably be a Giga Chad.
You'd probably go to sleep at normal times and wake up at normal times.
Yeah, and I'd probably still tell you to shut up. It's so annoying. You act like you're not also on the worst schedule of all time.
I'm
sometimes.
on a great schedule
Right now, but you've been through it with me. Yeah.
for the last year.
We used to stay up until fucking 9 a.m. talking about nonsense.
Yeah,
all
those
the
were
time.
but I would if I had someone that cared about me that told me to go to sleep earlier, I'd be like, damn right.
Bro, I live my entire life. My mom wakes up disappointed because she spends the first 8 hours of her day with me asleep.
Yeah.
And she tells me, you need to go to bed earlier, Austin. She told me before I even came down here today, she said, go to bed early. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. It's like, it's just how it is, man. I have people that love me that tell me to do good things for me, but at the end of the day, you know, you gotta want help. I don't
Yeah,
want
but
help.
don't you know, Austin, streaming early morning is the best time to stream?
Yeah, but don't you know, Voo, that streaming early morning is when you have 0 competitive pugs because all the good players are on the worst schedule of all time.
That's actually like, okay, so I wanted, like, my plan actually was like, okay, so I'm gonna like, I like being schedule oriented even though I don't follow schedules very well. I like having a plan for what the schedule should be. And so it's like, yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll wake up, I'll go grab my coffee, get breakfast, you know, I go for a walk sometimes, like 20 minutes, whatever, come back, chill with the cat for a little bit, because get him off my fucking ass, okay? Otherwise he's jumping all over me, right? And then I'm gonna go sit down and I'm gonna play some pugs for like 2-3 hours. Then I'll work on videos, and that'll be like my, you know, get back into CS shape strategy. But then I played a few pugs at 9 a.m. and those are the worst thing in human fucking history, okay?
Yeah, because
it's
that's
like,
when you play the level 8s that are supposed
no,
to be
it's
level
not even
10.
that. It's like, it is that. But you're like, I'm also like, I queued at 9 a.m. and I got like the number 2, 3, and 4 ranked Faceit players in NA in my game. And it's like,
well, the good news is
what the
that
fuck?
they got banned, so...
Yeah, I was like, bro,
unless you're
what
talking
the-
about Weeza, Ethex, and Alula, that 3Q, yeah, they stay up all night. That's how late they stay up.
I don't remember
You
who
actually
it was.
caught them right before bedtime.
I just remember looking at that and I was like, dude, I'm not even gonna have fun in this game. Like, the problem is my aim is so fucking bad. If I play someone that's 2800 elo, I could outplay them. They will still kill me. There's like, I need another 2 months of practice before I can even win a duel that I have an advantage against a good player.
You know, realistically, if you wanted to farm elo, here's what you do. You got.
I don't want to farm elo, Austin. I don't care about elo.
You have to do the Drew the Shrew method, okay? The first time I
Be
ever
bad,
talked to
but
Drew,
somehow win anyways.
that's really anyway.
But learn a
sorry,
bunch of
Drew.
one-way smokes.
No, the Drew the Shrew method. One night I stayed up all night playing pugs with the boys, and we were like cycling people in and out as they went to bed and people or whatever. It's like 5 a.m. and Drew the Shrew gets on. He's like, "What's up, guys?" And he's shaking up fucking G Fuel. I'm like, "What? Are
He's
you
up at
drinking
5.
G Fuel?" Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, I get up at 5 a.m. so I could farm all these kids that stay up all night because they're tired." And he's like, "And I'm ready to fucking go." I'm like, "Oh my
That's
god."
fucking genius. Oh my god.
I'm like, "Holy shit!" And then we lost all our games anyway, so it didn't really make a difference, did it?
Outplay them looking the wrong way. So, Jacko, what happened is, this is a realization I had when I got invited to Mythic Diamond. Okay, I got invited. I went in there. I was like doing fine at Faceit 10 at the time. I was like, whatever. I was not at my current level where like I'm barely holding on. I was like 2400 elo or whatever.
Barely holding on.
But Mythic Diamond at the
fucking
time
let
was
go.
like, actually, like, it was like all advanced players, mostly advanced players, I would say, and like some ECL players or whatever it was at the time. And it was like, I'm not playing that bad. It's just that I come up aiming at someone here and they're looking 45 degrees the other way, and before I kill them, they've turned and shot me in the head, because I'm killing them in the body 90% of the time, but they're headshotting me at least 50% of the time, in which case I'm just fucking dead. So it's like, even though I've like, the first game I played, there was like 5 separate rounds where I had a huge advantage on someone, not like behind them, but like, you know, enough that you're getting the kill 100% of the time. And I died, and I was like, I just can't keep up with this. like, there's really no hope for this, because
that was still when you were playing a little bit though.
Yes,
like you were
yeah.
not. That wasn't the 2-year break, Voo. That was like
that was when I was competent enough.
trailing off. That was trailing off though.
But
sure.
that's the problem, is that even at that time, my aim was already shit. It's just that, like, a 2000 elo player, I can get a drop on him most of the time in CSGO. In CS2, it's a little bit fucking harder, honestly.
Sounds like you just need to hit the aim labs, buddy.
I swear to fucking God, I've been hitting the aim labs.
I know.
What do you mean you know?
I keep
Yeah,
saying
tell me
it.
about it. I'm keeping this one on the download. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how bad I am.
Do you think external aim trainers actually help people get better at CS or no?
Yes and no.
I agree. I was going to say that's the answer. Yes
Hold
or
on,
no.
hold on. Ask me the question. The problem is that it takes me a day and a half to cut this podcast down. So first of all, they've got to be a little bit shorter. And second of all, we've got to prevent this from being like, where like you ask the question, then like I like semi-answer it, but I like don't answer it. Like when the one podcast, I didn't do any shorts for it because like the questions you asked, which were great, I was like giving the longest answers ever. So you got to ask this question again, and then I'm gonna give you a straight answer, and then it can just chop straight into a short.
All right. Voo, let me ask you a question, okay? Do you think external aim trainers actually help people get better at CS?
Okay, repeat that, but without the K in the middle. Chat, this is what it's like when I ask them to record something for a video. This is how specific I am. I'm not actually asking you to do that.
Voo, let me ask you a question.
I'm just trolling, you know. Dude, I feel like sometimes I just want to let people know how much effort goes into a YouTube video, because they're like, Voo, do you even do this full time? And it's like, you don't even understand how much fucking optimizing goes into a fucking YouTube video.
Bro, we made a scripted YouTube short one time, and it took us like 3 hours to script it.
Is that the one?
And it was the one where we the one where the
that
intentional
took so
whiff.
long. Oh my
yeah,
God.
it took so long.
It did really well though.
Pretzel, yeah, it did do really well, and everybody was like, "This is obviously scripted." It's like, yeah, dude, it's obviously scripted.
Yeah.
But he wasn't even blind. He needed to throw a better flash.
Okay, I'll answer the question. Do aim trainers help you get better at? Wait, what's the question again? I forgot.
Voo, let me ask you a question. Do aim trainers help people improve in CS?
Yes and no, my dear friend. I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
have to
dearest
fucking
Donald.
edit this down again, dude. I can't help myself. Yes, I think yes and no. Yes, in that yes, but no, in that no, you're not good enough for yes to be the answer. Okay, for 95% of people, not even. No, if you're not Faceit 10 already, don't launch a fucking aim trainer. Don't do it. Just don't do it. If you're not Faceit 10, and that includes me for the second. If you're not Faceit 10, do not launch a fucking aim trainer, okay? Play the game. There's a 100% chance that your point-click aim is not the issue, even if it's bad, because your utilization of your point-click aim is the bad part. Your movement's shit, your crosshair placement's shit, your game sense is shit, so you're not actually utilizing the point-click aim. I guarantee you in chat, I would bet money that I have worse aim than most of the people in chat, but I can utilize that aim well enough that I can shoot people decently.
Fair enough.
What do you think, Austin?
I think that they don't help. You're better off just playing in game, because aim trainers don't factor in the movement aspect of CS and how other players move. Aim trainers are just mostly point click and like tracking. You're only doing like mouse stuff. But if you take all of that and you put it into CS, like factoring in all the movement and like how you have to counter strafe and stuff, and it's just not going to be effective. I feel like you need the in-game experience first, and then you can grind out the extra 0.1% or 1% of your aim in an aim trainer later on.
Yeah. I see people that spend a lot of time in aim trainers. You're wasting your time. Like the odds are, if you're below Faceit 5, there is 100% chance improving your point click aim is not going to do fuck all compared to improving your movement and your crosshair placement. Like your angle clearing. I guess you could say there's some game sense in like clearing angles one by one or whatever, right? If you get those three things good, you will be above Faceit 5.
True.
Even with terrible aim.
I have a really good idea. Okay, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube shorts for podcasts, and we've talked about this before. But there's like a skit that a lot of podcasts do where they do these rankings without knowing what comes next. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I've actually crafted one for you. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to do this. Okay. Voo, I want you to rank these 5 maps in order without knowing which comes next, 1 through 5. Okay. Are you ready? The first map is Mirage. What would you rank that out of 1 through 5?
3. No. 3. No. 3.
All right, so 3 for Mirage. Number 2, the second map I should say is Cobble.
5.
Okay, so 5 for Cobble. I agree with you actually. 2024 Inferno.
4.
Okay, fair enough. Cash.
1.
And then the last map is Season. What would you rank Season as? You have no choice but to put it as number 2. You think that's a good list? To go from
terrible.
Cash, Season, Mirage,
No.
2024 Inferno to Cobble. Are you happy with that or no?
No, I would put Season number 5, Season 5, Cobble 4, Inferno 3, Mirage 2, Cash
I had
1.
to hit you with it at the end, you know.
Yeah,
I wanted you to feel
dude.
bad
That's
for putting
troll.
Mirage at 3. The
That's
fact that you
troll.
didn't put Mirage at 2 is very silly in my opinion.
Mirage, well, the thing is, I thought for sure you'd have Vertigo and Anubis because
Oh, I wanted to, but we
So-
can do more of these in the future.
Yeah, well, I also wanted to do the I honestly, dude, I forgot it was Sunday until you messaged me.
You know, you gave me 2 weeks to make the podcast on time, but you forgot until I reminded you. So just want everybody on chat to know.
On
that,
time is doing it on the right day. We're doing it on the right day.
Yeah, but you weren't going to be on time.
Well, because you woke up at 6. You're the ones that got asked to message me.
I woke up and I was like, today is Sunday.
I
6
guarantee I'm
p.m.
awake whenever you message me, okay? If I message you, odds are you're not awake.
That's true.
Because this is like the end of my day. Usually I
My
like hit
day's
the
just
gym and
getting
go to
started.
sleep. That's like the
Yeah.
end. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my day goes from here. I hit the gym and go to sleep. That's the next 2 things I do. Sometimes I might have some Monster in between so I can actually hit the gym.
Yeah, shout out to Monster.
I want to do the drafts. I think those are highly entertaining and not overused, like some other short form content.
Ranking without
styles
knowing
are.
what comes next is good because you have to bait people to watch the entire short.
Yeah, and
Drafts are boring, in my opinion, even though they might be more fun for us.
What do you mean they're boring?
I think they're boring to
I
watch.
want to see who picks what.
Yeah, but we would have to talk a lot faster to put that in a 60-second short.
I can edit pretty well, Austin.
I know, but
I've
we
got
both
talent.
waffle a lot.
Yeah. Did you? Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but
It's gonna be hard.
All right, Austin. Here's the draft. Okay, I'm gonna name off 10 players. Hold on. No, actually, here's what we're gonna
That's
do.
not how that. Yeah. Okay.
HLTV top 20, Liquipedia. Google that. That's all I ever look at.
Okay. Hold on.
And it
But you
gives you the
said it.
list of all of the
HLTV top 20 Liquipedia.
Yeah, and it gives you all the years of HLTV's top 20 on one page.
All right. Which year do we want? Do we want all of them? Or?
Okay, let's say 2019. Build a super team 2019, but
2019. Build a super team.
yes, but
From
we're going
5
one by
years
one.
ago.
This is draft mode. We're in
Yeah,
draft mode.
I'm familiar. Hold on, let me get it up on screen for everybody.
We're
All
doing
right.
draft mode.
Okay. All right, who wants to go first? If we're drafting players for the 2019, make a super team. You want to go first or what?
Sure, Zaiwu,
Oh,
obviously.
I'll pick simple, of course.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and that's where it gets complicated.
Yeah, it is where it gets complicated.
That's where it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Hold
who I want.
on. We're IGL. You pick after. We just pick 4 on this list. IGL comes later. There's no IGLs on this list.
Okay, yeah, IGL will come later. Yeah, that's fine.
Device.
Nico.
All right, then I got who's an entry?
I feel bad for taking the top 4, but you have to.
Electronic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Electronic,
I'll take Rops.
Is he on here?
Yes.
Oh, he is. Okay. Yeah, you got Rops. I'll take Zipnix.
I'll take Magisk.
I think you might have a better team. I think you might. I've got the star power. I got Zaiwu and Simple. Okay,
No,
but
you have Zaiwu and Device.
Zaiwu and Device. Yeah, okay.
I have Simple, Nico, Rops,
Hold on, let's
and
go.
Magisk.
Let's just go to 5. Okay, so I just took Zipnix and you took Magisk. I'll
Yeah.
take Breeze. Yeah, Breezy's the last one.
No IGL?
Wait, we don't have any IGLs. There's no IGLs on the list.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, that does make it a little more difficult, but I guess I'd probably pick Dupree.
Yeah,
I think I beat you.
I think you might. Yeah.
I think my team is significantly
You're looking at the
more
wrong
stacked.
year, bro.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. I was
Oh
looking at the
my
wrong year.
God, Austin.
That's fine. Dupree was still on the list. So was Rops. So was Magisk. So was Simple. And,
So I got 3 of the top 6, and you've got 3 of the top 6.
yeah.
That's a
All of my
scam.
players
We
were
gotta
on the
make-
list.
You gotta make these lists better. These
Yeah,
lists
well,
gotta be
this was
better.
your idea. So, I mean,
No, this was my idea that it would be good, but it has to be crafted intelligently. Just pulling
Yeah,
up
I know.
HLTV
We're
is
working
not
on it.
crafting. It's not crafting it intelligently.
We're working on it.
We're working. We got to get a set. We got to have a set.
Yeah.
We should do these
we
in
need
person.
someone, bro. I'm not going to fucking Canada to record the podcast.
They'd let you in.
I'm not worried about that. I don't want to
They let anyone in, Austin. He'd be safe. He'll make it.
Why don't you just move to Chicago?
I
and
don't
we'll
think
go
they're gonna
from
let
there?
me in. No.
Why?
Well, okay. So the last time I went to the U.S., I went to New
Oh
York.
no.
Okay.
Oh my God. Here we go.
I went no. Okay, so I went to Baltimore for an event, and then they flew me out, and then I took the train
Mm-hmm.
to New York, and I stayed there for a week, and then I came home. Worst week of my life, honestly.
Yep.
Even worse than the week where I got AIDS.
Oh, the what?
No,
Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry. Did I hear that? Did
no,
hear
I
you
got
right?
over it. I got over it. It's fine.
You just get,
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know you just got over
No,
that. But all good.
anyways,
no, it's
when I
fine,
go to
yeah.
the airport, dude, it is the biggest lineup I've ever seen in my life. It's like it must have been like a 2-hour lineup. But they escorted me straight from the back from where I got my ticket. I went to print my ticket and there was an error. So I went to a person to ask for my ticket and they were like, come with me. And they fucking 3 security guards escorted me straight to the front of the fucking line, brought me through the scanner, patted me down, emptied out my bag. Any electronics I had that wouldn't turn on, aka my fucking phone wouldn't turn on because I forgot. I don't think I forgot the charger. There was some problem with it. It wouldn't fucking turn on. Had to throw it out. So I had to throw out my phone, perfectly working phone. It just was dead. Just didn't have any fucking charge. And then I was like good to go basically. I'm surprised
You
I
had
didn't
to
do a
throw
fucking.
your phone out.
I had to throw my phone in the garbage.
What?
Yeah.
They
I'm
wouldn't
surprised
do-
they didn't do an anal cavity search. Like fucking, they clearly I was red flagged for something. And yeah,
So is that why you've been so hesitant about coming to America?
I don't know if they're gonna let me in, dude. I don't know what list I'm on, but I'm afraid I'm gonna get anal cavity searched
Bro.
the next time I show up, dude. And
The
do you know the
Discord-
funniest part? You know the
Discord
funniest part,
logs
dude.
leaked.
You know the funniest part, dude, is actually
Yeah.
that inside of my backpack, I had my iPod, which wasn't turned on, that I put through the scanner, and they didn't even notice. So they did not look at the scanner as my bag was going through it to even know if there was anything in my bag. But the phone that I had declared, because my phone was also in my bag, and I was like, oh yeah, I got my phone in my bag. Like, okay, you've got to throw that out. But my iPod, because I forgot that it was in the bag, it got through. So they also are shit at their
Bro.
jobs. That's TSA for you.
I can't believe they made you throw your phone out.
Yes. I literally looked around. I was like, brand new phone, works perfectly. And then I threw it in the garbage. Like, I was like, have a free phone. Go ahead. Because this is like 2015 or 2016. It wasn't like one of those phones that's like Apple now where it's like a brick unless you like
Yeah. So they really wouldn't even let you like charge your phone for a millisecond just to show that
Nope.
it wasn't like.
Nope. Any electronics that didn't turn on had to be thrown out. Yeah. But I skipped the lineup. But it's weird because, you know, I wouldn't think that getting patted down is like a problem. But I'm going to be honest, dude. I felt kind of violated. But it might have just been the whole situation in itself, right? But like, yeah, it was, you know, I wasn't feeling right. I wasn't feeling right. Okay.
I'm surprised that something like put you on a list. Like why? What
I
happened?
don't know. I have no idea. I've never done anything that would
I
ever.
guess they
I think it was just the path, like going from Baltimore to New York. Someone else bought my ticket, like and I was traveling alone. Like that must be like there must be a confoundance
Yeah.
of
And your name is Donald, and people just don't buy that.
yeah, you know, that is
that does not sound like a name people have these days.
that name has been getting dragged. Like there's like every time I've heard the name Donald in media recently, it's been bad. There was like a serial killer on Brooklyn Nine-Nine that like a cannibal on Brooklyn Nine-Nine named Donald. There was like the judge on Suits that was getting cucked by Harvey was named Donald. Like there was like it's all this
and
name.
let's not forget about our recent president.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that's part of the reason that all these things are happening.
You got a cursed name, man.
It's going downhill. But to be fair, before that, nobody had ever heard the name. So, you know, you take some wins, you take some losses. You got to accept the reality of the situation, you know?
Yeah, so I'll just think twice before I invite you to come to any event in America. He says, I know what you're going to be thinking.
Hold on.
He's
Did
like,
Liquid win?
oh, fuck, I forgot
Liquid
to
did
watch.
win, actually. They did win.
They
They were
did pull it
down.
off.
They were
they pulled
down
it
a lot,
off?
someone was saying. They were down 5-1 or something, someone was saying.
Oh, man, they did pull it
They
off.
pulled it
yeah.
off on
They-
Inferno. This is a 2019 map pool.
It is actually, yeah. That's crazy. Have to take a look back at that. Feels bad for the wildcard guys. I was kind of hoping they'd be able to pull it through.
Yeah, but it's Stanislaw. If Daps isn't... Wait, isn't Daps coaching that roster now?
I think so.
Okay, so maybe they will
It's
be
only
good.
a matter of time.
Maybe they will be good.
No. Warden is coaching the roster. Daps is playing on NRG.
Warden is coaching the roster?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I thought for some reason I thought Stanislaw and Daps got united as a coach player
No,
combo.
I thought so too when you said that, but then I was like, no, he's playing NRG.
What is wrong with Liquid? Okay, so you don't think there's anything wrong with Liquid. You think tier 2 is just good.
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with Liquid. I think Skulls was a silly choice for this team. But it's not a bad choice. Like I don't hate it. I just think that they could have a better player, but it's not the reason. Like that would be like a tier 1 discussion, like why they're struggling in tier 1, but they're not. They're struggling for tier 2 as well. So it's
Okay,
like,
I think Cadian's the problem.
okay,
but I'll couch that. Okay. I think Cadian's the problem currently, but I think it is extremely hard. I'm going to do the NA, like the tier 2 player thing where like all the tier 2 players are like, who's the best player ever? And they just say the player that owned them the hardest in scrims. That's like, that's a CS player thing.
Yeah.
When I was IGLing and opping, I would be shit for like the first 2 months. I want to say that's probably fairly universal because when you're opping, you have to be staring at your scope and hitting all of your shots. You have to be really focused on your screen. When you're IGLing, you have to be staring at your fucking radar. With a new team, you have to be staring at radar and like looking at where people are and like calling around it.
Yeah,
you need a couple months
that does make sense.
You need a couple months to vibe with your team to know, like, okay, we did this strat, they're going to be here, there, whatever, and then, you know, you can focus on your screen.
It's probably really hard for Karrigan to get comfortable with the team since he's used to playing with like Danish teams as of recently who are a lot more structured.
Yeah.
And now you're playing with Yakinder, who is a known W holder, and then also Skulls, who is also a player who's, you know, normally playing a little more aggressive. And then, you know, Twist. He's probably still an NA player at heart, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's probably very, very hard for him to pull that all together into one team.
You think he's going to pull it? Okay, but, sorry. Do you think Liquid's underperforming, or you think NA Tier 2 is just really good?
Both. I mean, it's definitely both, because even though NA Tier 2 is performing well, I think that Liquid shouldn't be losing to them still.
Wait, Liquid somehow beat Spirit?
Yes.
Karrigan dropping like a 0.6?
Yes, but that was no Donk.
Oh, that was no Donk. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, they replaced their best player with their worst player. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right. Yeah, it all adds up. It's all adding up.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what do we think about getting guests on here now that we've started to get a little bit more?
Yeah, let's get some guests
footing?
on. Actually, you know, Wilson said he would be down to be on the podcast.
Wilson, okay. Wilson, what about? I could probably get some of the other guys, like more entertaining guys, on here to talk about. I could probably talk to Mo. Mo would be fun to talk about, like some of the other side of CS. Like
your favorite YouTuber Wilson just got rejected because he's not funny enough.
Really?
That's what you just said. You could get some more entertaining guys.
I didn't reject him. I was thinking of like people who are gonna be like hard to control on
Yeah.
like the podcast. Like
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
I actually think Wilson, like getting a YouTuber
No.
would be really interesting.
Wilson's good.
Yeah.
I would love to get more YouTubers. I want all kinds of YouTubers because skin YouTubers would be fun. Even like people who are more known for like the gambling stuff could be fun if they have like, I'm thinking of someone like Sparkles or Anomaly.
Yeah.
Those guys can be fun.
I think there might be out of our reach at the moment.
I don't think so. Maybe though. Maybe for this podcast, but for other videos, probably not.
Anomaly? I feel like
Bro, let's be honest. Anomaly would just open cases while he's talking to us anyway.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
not like a Oni guys, there is a 0% chance we could get Oni on this podcast, just so you know.
Doesn't he like both of our streams?
Yeah. Does Oni like your stream? I think he likes my stream.
I know he's watched my videos on stream and like, yeah, he likes my content.
He watched my videos on stream, yeah.
He's
We might be able to
talked about
you know
enjoying
what?
my content.
I'll see what we could do. We'll see what we could do.
Austin's got all the fucking hookups, okay? Austin is in the streamer discords with all the weirdos.
Yeah, true.
And he stays up late at
Flom-
night when all these people are playing.
True. Flom
Flom
would
would be a
good,
sick guest, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we could do Flom. Get a girly. I mean, it depends on who's the first like. Would be good for the podcast. Goose Breeder.
That's the first name that comes to mind. The problem is, I feel like most pro players aren't the greatest. You have to really be careful because a lot of them are really, I don't want to say like heavily PR trained, but they are averse. A lot of pros are averse to controversy, and controversy comes from stating your unfiltered opinion. You can run into some controversy or some backlash, like not like getting canceled, but you can run into some. So I noticed that sometimes when I've dealt with players that have been on big orgs, very often, actually, most of the time, to be honest, when I've had them on a broadcast, they are not fun. They're like, they're not hanging out. It's very much like, I'm working right now, so I need to make sure I say work-oriented words.
Yeah.
You know?
Kadian. We could probably get Kadian.
Kadian would be sick, yeah.
Bro, I got so excited the other day. Kadian messaged me on Steam. He said, "Yo, brother," and he started typing more, and I was like, "Oh man, I wonder what Kadian is gonna say to me." And then he asked me a question about settings, and I was like, "Damn." I thought today was the day he was gonna be like, "Austin, let me help your team" or something like that, bro. God damn it. He asked me about settings.
I think you need to ask in the other direction. What did he ask about settings, Austin?
He asked me which NVIDIA like thing that you're using. I don't remember what is the setting called, the boost or no boost or enabled or whatever.
What are you using?
Yeah, enabled without the boost.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing, but it's hard to tell what it actually does because it is an FPS limiter. So if you use it and you like turn it on, you're like, "Whoa, my god, my FPS went way down." It's like that's part of kind of what it does. So it's like, it how is it actually impacting you? Like I don't really know, you know.
Yeah, obviously I didn't think Kadian was going to ask me to join Liquid, but I got excited because obviously like anything that Kadian wants to talk about
can I
could be
come
good
on your
for content.
podcast?
Yeah. I mean, he's been in the chat before, and like he's been interacting a lot more with like other streamers.
Okay, Austin. Let me ask you a question though.
All right.
Is it a CS2 problem? If my brightness is too fucking low, I can't see the fucking counter-terrorists on like half the maps and half the fucking spots. But if my brightness is too high, then I can't see through Molotovs. They're like the fucking sun. I can't find a middle ground. Sure. I cannot find. I was like 65%. I peeked someone garage on Nuke. He's fucking invisible. He's invisible, dude. And then I turn it up to 75. Someone throws a molly. It's like I'm staring into the fucking sun.
Yeah, mollies most definitely need to be tweaked a little bit in a couple ways. First, the flame needs to be a little lower. Second, it needs to be not as bright, in my opinion, because right now mollies are a nightmare. If you're trying to like see through them at all, it's hard. And also, they're really bright. They are really bright. I hope they get tweaked a little bit in the future.
There needs to be a gamma feature because you could have, I think the gamma feature would tone down that brightness, and usually it would kind of keep the darks from getting too dark. I felt like it used to have gamma feature in old CS. It was like, I think in CSGO it was a console command or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't adjust it enough.
Speaking of console commands, there was a recent discovery, which I'm planning on posting to Twitter. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but you can, with console commands, disable the ringing that flashbangs give you. Like,
yeah, that's definitely a bug. I would say it's definitely a
but
bug.
you can turn it on without cheats. You can turn it on in Pugs.
It's yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's legal, but once they figure it out, they're gonna fix it, I would guess.
But I wanna use it because wowie, I hate that ringing. But on the other hand, if I use it on stream, people are gonna be like, "How did you do that?" And then eventually they're gonna, Valve's gonna have to address the fact that there's a way to disable it, but they haven't openly said it, and it's definitely
in the same regard. HE grenades, the ringing lasts way too long in CS2.
That
right?
too.
Like,
yeah,
that is
I agree.
fucking unbelievable.
It steals your hearing for sure. You can't hear anything.
Okay, let's finish that and then we'll talk about sound. I want to talk about sound for a second, then we can probably end.
Okay.
I would just put that out there because eventually it's gonna get out there, and you may as well get the views from it.
Yeah, well, also I can use it after I like publicly declare it. I won't feel bad using it. But if I just use it and then eventually people are like, "Oh, you're cheating," or like that's not intentional, then I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you're a glitch abuser" or whatever. But like, if I declare it and make it public information, then I'm not gonna feel as bad. I mean, you still can't hear while you're flashed. Like you don't there's just no ringing, which is like annoying.
I mean, that should probably be in the game as long as the sound, it doesn't change the sound that you're hearing. That should probably exist in the game.
It doesn't.
Especially because it's high pitched. It's literally just like hearing loss simulator.
It is. It actually is. Like there was a study that came out that said that the flashbang frequency is actually like taking hearing away from people.
Yeah.
It's like at a frequency that's
like
fucking your
that
ears.
truck lover guy?
Yeah, speaking of truck, we should get him on the podcast sometime.
Okay.
Ask him the question, how did you burst somebody's eardrum?
Okay, the sound in CS2, I feel like has gotten worse.
You'll notice it really bad if you're on Nuke and you drop down the vent while something's happening. So like if there's a Molotov burning next to you and you hear it and go down the vent, it just goes, whoop, it's gone. Like you can't hear it.
And people shooting masks, like any sound. If someone's shooting anywhere near you, it's like, oh, I didn't hear the bomb explode because someone's shooting next to me. Like, and the echoing. There's a bunch of angles where the sound just starts fucking echoing like crazy.
Yes, like there's sometimes I'm running and I hear my footsteps echo and I'm like, there's somebody behind me? I don't know. I can't tell.
And the amount of mutedness you get, like in vents or anywhere there's a wall between you, it's like you can't hear anything right next to you. It's fucked.
I mean, to be fair, at least in some regards, like the way that the new sound engine works, it does make sense for real life. Like I wouldn't be able to hear somebody stomping on like the floor.
You wouldn't be able to survive a fucking deagle shot either, Austin.
I know. But the way that the engine works does kind of make sense, but it's just like it's not good. Like you'll notice it really bad on that map, like Nuke and also Vertigo, where there's like elevation. Otherwise, the sound is actually really good. Like I really like the sound on like when I'm playing Ancient. Anubis is also really nice. Mirage, of course, like all of the like super flat maps, sound is perfect. But Nuke and Vertigo, it's bad.
Yeah, it's fucking and it's just it's aggressively bad. Like the echoing is aggressively bad. It's fucking so aggressive. You know, I actually think I might have deleted the last podcast episode. Anyways, I'll just have to download your stream if that's the case. Yeah, I had to clear my hard drive and
it's fine. You can get it from my VOD.
All right.
Should still be there.
Good podcast. Ta-da. Go subscribe to YouTube,
Patreon.
Austin,
No.
Voostin. YouTube Voostin, Patreon Voostin.
Yes. Twitch Austin CS _.
Yeah, Austin CS, yeah. All right.
That's where we stream.